4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
From the place you're not overly ostentatious studios of the Infinity Sports Network here in beautiful New York City, sitting on top of the 10th floor of 345 Hudson Street. Welcome on in to what is a fabulous and I mean a fabulous Friday edition of the Zach Gelb Show, and nobody, and I mean nobody, can intercept how I feel right now. Oh, this is going to be wonderful. We are here all the way up until 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific time today. We'll be joined by some friends along the way. Andrew Whitworth, who I think is the best-dressed big fella I've ever seen, and he does it in such a casual way. He's going to join us coming up 40 minutes from now at 3:40 p.m. Eastern time. In the second hour of the extravaganza, former Packers kicker Mason Crosby is going to join us at 4:20 p.m. Eastern time. And coming up in studio at 5:20 p.m. Eastern time for us to dance on his grave is Ryan Hot Take Hickey. So let's get the party started. You could always give me a follow on the good old cesspool of Twitter or on Instagram, where I'm always straight flexing, at Zach Gelb. That is ZACHGELB. And you could always give me a call at 855-212-4227. 855-212-4227. Last night was awesome, if I'm just going to be honest, as the Notre Dame Fighting Irish have put a stop to the run of Participation State University with the Penn State Nittany Lions. I thought I was not going to be able to use that shtick, if I'm being honest, for like a year. Because I go, okay, if Penn State gets to the championship game and they lose, but they beat Notre Dame, that would have been their best quality win of the season. But when you look back at Penn State, they are the definition of Participation State University, where they win a lot of games, right? They make you feel good about yourself just for showing on up. But in the big spots and the big moments, they crumble and they fold like a cheap suit. That's what they do. You look at this year, their three biggest games, they are 0-3. They lost to Ohio State. They lost in the Big Ten championship game. Oh, we'll pat you on the head for not getting blown out by Oregon. And then last night, they had a game where in the first half, and let's have some honest conversations here. In the first half, I was very disappointed with Stu Kovacs. Now, don't get me wrong. Stu and I were going back and forth, exchanging some texts during the game, and I'm rooting for Notre Dame. I want to see my guy, Stuart Kovacs, happy. Happy until January 20th, and let's hope that he has a party on January 20th and Notre Dame wins it all. But I wanted to see Stu get the moment of elation for beating Penn State, because I know Stu is a passionate Notre Dame fan, and I work with him on a daily basis. And Stu sent me a text when Notre Dame was getting the ball back right before the end of the first half. And he said to me, this is a disaster. This game feels like it's over. And quite frankly, if we're calling a spade, I don't fault Stu for sending that text. But it was only 10-0. And it felt as if that game should have been a lot worse. At the end of the first half, I'm watching the game. Penn State is beating the snot out of Notre Dame inside the trenches. Their offensive line was mauling the Penn State defense, the Notre Dame defense, and then also the Penn State defense, Abdul Carter, looked like he wasn't even injured, if we're being honest. And Riley Leonard had some bad moments in that first half. And I'm sitting there when Stu sent me that text, and I go, it's not the time to admit defeat right now. Because all you need to do is get a score on this drive, and momentum will shift. It will be a one-score game. And even though Notre Dame, with their backup quarterback, because Riley Leonard got hurt, was matriculating the ball down the field, it stalled, and they got a field goal. Now, that's not a huge momentum shift, but it's a significant enough momentum shift because it made it a one-score game. And then right out of half, here come the Irish. Notre Dame punches Penn State in the mouth, and boom, we got a tie game at 10 apiece. And it was a brand new ball game. And who would have then thought Notre Dame would get the ball back, score another touchdown, and we're all tied up at 7, or, Notre Dame takes a 17-10 lead. They score 17 unanswered. So Notre Dame takes a 17-10 lead. Penn State ties it up at 17-17. And even when they tie it up, I'm sitting there saying, I can't wait to see how this finishes. And I truly didn't know who was going to win the game. And Penn State, They're moving the ball. You're thinking they're going to get in the end zone. Drew Aller throws an interception. And let's be real. I've even had Penn State fans text me on the side. We got bailed out by the officials on that interception. So they call pass interference. I didn't like it. They were letting the guys play all throughout the game. I didn't think it was egregious. I just want consistency from my officials, and they didn't give it there. And they set Penn State up with the gift. Penn State scores a touchdown. And when it was 24-17, I am sitting there and I'm saying, ugh. They tease you like that, Notre Dame, right? And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm going to have to dress up as a Penn State Nittany Lion, and Hickey's not going to have to dress up as a leprechaun. That's what I'm thinking. But then, immediately after that, Greathouse takes it to the house, and it's 24-24. And what happened after that is just complete and utter chaos. So Drew Aller, who, let me be clear here. I'm going to say this right out of the gate. You guys know me. I don't know if there's a coach in college football. It's either James Franklin or Ryan Day. But James Franklin's been at the top of that list for many years. There's not a coach that I despise more in college football and root against than James Franklin. And this is like Christmas for me in January. You know, whatever holiday, 4th of July in January. You know, Super Bowl Sunday in January. This is what today is for me, because usually the Zach Gelb playbook here is to just completely undress, eviscerate, and destroy. And I mean verbally destroy James Franklin. Because he's arrogant, he's insufferable, and he tries to present like he is an elite coach when he's not. Because he can never win the big game. Now, with all that being said, I can't crush James Franklin for last night. If I'm being honest, Penn State did not lose that game because of James Franklin. They lost the game because of Drew Aller. And Drew Aller got bailed out by the officials on the second interception that was taken off the board. The first one I was fine with. But then he gets the ball back at 24-24. Opportunity number one to go score a touchdown or get a field goal. Couldn't do it. Then Notre Dame gets the football. And this is the only criticism. I love Marcus Freeman. All right? But this is the only criticism I have of Marcus Freeman. What the heck were they doing on that drive? They could have ran the ball. They had timeouts. The strength of your team is either running the ball with Riley Leonard or more so, running the ball with your running backs. And I know Jeremiah Love's not 100%, but when he's hurdling at someone in the second half, he's good to go at that point. Not 100%, but nobody's 100% at this season. And Sully texted me when Notre Dame got the ball back, and he said, what do you think's going to happen? And I go, game-winning 53-yard field goal, Notre Dame. And it was looking like it was heading there. And then Notre Dame just decided to get so pass-heavy. So I was annoyed there that Notre Dame didn't get the job done. But then Penn State gets the ball back. Penn State, you have a decision to make. Under a minute left, there's like 40 seconds left. Do you just run the ball, take a knee, and go into overtime, or do you go for it? And I'll give credit to James Franklin and Andy Koldernicki. It's the right decision there to go for it. You just got to get into field goal range, and when you have a veteran quarterback, even though I don't love Drew Aller, you would think, even though he was jittery all night, even though he made mistakes all night, you would think he'd be mature and smart enough to not make one of the dumbest throws I've ever seen. And that's what Drew Aller did. Drew Aller made a terrible mistake. Pressure was coming. He panicked. Honestly, the best thing in that situation is to just hold on to the ball with two hands, take a sack, and boom, you hold on to the football, you go to overtime. Instead, I heard him say after the game, he was trying to throw the ball at the feet of the wide receiver into the ground. And you had a great play made by the Notre Dame defensive back. He picks it off, and then a Jeter shows up in January, when usually a Jeter shows up in October or even November, and kicks the game-winning field goal. And then Notre Dame had a trickery play, right? Throw the ball around, or Penn State, had a trickery play, throw the ball around. And Drew Aller was fitting that it ended with him being the one to lateral it all the way out of bounds. But in that moment last night, and I watched this game, you could say Penn State was the better team. You could say Penn State was the more talented team, and you could say Penn State should have won the game. And I can't sit here and tell you that you're wrong, right? Penn State was the more talented team with Tyler Warren, with Abdul Carter, with the two running backs that you have at Penn State. Penn State, for most of the game, looked like they were the better team. But the two things that I look back at in this game is Penn State could have issued a kill shot in the first half, and they didn't. And you kind of saw that up against Boise State, too. And I know Boise State, even though Ashton Genty's incredible, doesn't have the same talent as Notre Dame has. But you left that game open. And Boise State just wasn't able to take advantage of it. Up against Notre Dame, you should have been up at least 17-zip at halftime. And it was only 10-3. So that's one in the first half. Notre Dame could have been dead at halftime with the way that mauling was by Penn State by the Nittany Lions in the first half. And Penn State just couldn't get the job done and deliver a big knockout punch. And in the second half, when you get to the back and forth and the pendulum is swinging and the seesaw is going back and forth, tug of war between Penn State and Notre Dame, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, both teams had an ample amount of opportunities at the end of the game. And Drew Aller had two opportunities to put his team up and to go put his team in position to win the game, and he couldn't do either. And on the second one, he threw an abysmal, and I mean an abysmal pass that cost his team the game. So yes, normally people would be sitting here tuning in to me, and I got a lot of tweets last night. I can't wait for 3 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. I can't wait for you to poke fun at James Franklin. I can't sit here and tell you that James Franklin's the reason they lost the game last night. Can you nitpick? Can you say a few things you didn't like that he did? Sure. You could do that with any coach. I could nitpick a few things I didn't like from Marcus Freeman last night. But when you look back and you have the first name that comes to mind as to why Penn State didn't win the game and who was the biggest difference in this game, it's Drew Aller. Even back in the first half, which, okay, you get in a play call and not run the ball, but they have a running back wide open, and Drew Aller underthrew him when he was a few yards away. He was off the mark on the pass. And then in the second half, at the end of that game, you just can't throw that interception. You just can't do it. And Drew Aller is someone that a lot of quarterbacks get anointed and tabbed as the guy. And all I've heard from my Penn State friends for the last few years, oh, Drew Aller's the best. Oh, just wait till Drew Aller gets on the field. Oh, Sean Clifford, I don't want to see any more Sean Clifford. Drew Aller's coming. And last year, Drew Aller was pathetic up against Ohio State. And this year, with the spot in the national championship game on the line, right? That's tangible. You could almost taste it. It was so close, but yet so far, because your veteran, experienced quarterback lost you the game. Now, here's something that I created last night. And if you listen to me when I was on the 6 to 10 p.m. Eastern time slot, there was a thing that we would do called the Hickey Hex. Now, Hickey's going to join us in studio at 5:20 p.m. Eastern time. Don't tell him, folks. I got him green and white donuts, by the way. And on the box of the donuts, it says, "We are going home." So I wrote that in Sharpie. And I'm also going to play this audio clip, which is about 2 minutes, for Hickey upon arrival to when he sits down to my right and joins us for a segment. So I hope Hickey's not listening right now. Right? I hope he's like in the shower doing one of those hot take videos that he does. He brushes his teeth in the shower, by the way, too, which is just absolutely disgusting. But when Hickey joins us in studio, we're going to play this for him.
It's the Hickey Hex.
I don't know how Notre Dame moves the ball offensively. I really don't. I've tried to look at it. Jeremiah Love's injured. He's gimping around in practice. If he can't run, I think Penn State showed you with how they're able to contain Ashton Genty. They could stop any rushing attack. And then if Riley Leonard has to throw the ball, he ain't beating anybody. He ain't beating anybody. He ain't beating anybody. He ain't beating anybody.
2nd and 8 for Leonard. Takes the shotgun snap, looking right, gonna throw wide open. He's got Greathouse. Catches to the 30, cuts back in the 20. Jaden Greathouse is gonna walk in to tie the game. What a throwing catch! 54 yards. Leonard to Greathouse, and Notre Dame strikes back with 4:38 to go in the Orange Bowl.
I think they win by double digits.
You think they're winning by double
I
digits?
do. I feel really good. Dangerously good, actually.
How many points are you going by? You say double digits. That's
I think like 11. I say 27-16.
Quick snap for Aller, looking left. Can't get it out. Now pressure coming. Aller throws. Loose ball. Intercepted. Christian Gray picks it off at the 42-yard line. Notre Dame will get the ball back with 33 seconds left in the game. What a big-time pick from Christian Gray.
Is this the day? Finally, James Franklin breaks through and wins a big game? I think it is.
Mitch Jeter lines it up. He's ready. The Orange Bowl is on Mitch Jeter's leg. Good snap, good hold, kick on its way, and the kick is good! Yes! Mitch Jeter, with 7 seconds left, gives the Irish a lead, 27-24. Notre Dame is on the precipice.
I feel really good. Dangerously good, actually. Dangerously good, actually. Dangerously good, actually. Dangerously good, actually. Dangerously good, actually.
Hot Take Hickey strikes again.
I have never seen Stu, if you're watching on YouTube, smile more than that. Stu, how you doing today? Notre Dame going to the championship game.
Incredible. I can't believe it. I still can't believe it, but wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He
is
gave
all I
up
could
on
say.
the team right before halftime.
Listen, I was not alone in giving up on them, to be fair.
No, you weren't.
But I'm glad they got it done.
You know who's really upset too? Pat Boyle. Pat Boyle's a Notre Dame fan. He goes, I gave up on the team after Northern Illinois. I go, Pat, everyone did.
Yep.
He goes, I never thought that. He goes, you know me, I always think my team's going to get there. He goes, I didn't think they were going to get there. I'm like, Pat, smile. No one cares. Who cares if you're wrong? Yeah, you could be right. There's been times I thought my team was going to lose. And when you get to the championship game and you're 60 minutes away from winning it all, who gives a bleep? So here come the Irish. And they're going to be in Atlanta for the national championship game. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Who's the biggest person that you blame last night for the Penn State loss? For me, it's Drew Aller. I'm not criticizing James Franklin today. Who would have ever thought I would have said that? 855-212-4227. 855-212-4227. Here we go again with the Cleveland Browns. What are they going to do as Deshaun Watson has once again ruptured his Achilles? We get into their answer for quarterback for 2025 next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
What a wonderful, and I mean a wonderful, Friday edition of the Zach Gelb Show right here on the Infinity Sports Network. Penn State lost, Notre Dame won. So Notre Dame is going to join me in Atlanta as I'll be there doing the show that Monday from the national championship game. And then also, we will see who wins tonight between Texas and Ohio State. And it seems like Texas has no shot in this game. According to all the experts are saying Texas got no shot. Ohio State's going to blow them out, and we shall see. I'll give you my opinion on that game coming up later on in the program. You know, Stu, I wonder this. I don't know what can happen, but our boss, David Mayernick, a few weeks ago put in for 2 credentials to the national championship game. He put in a credential for me. I went last year. And then he also put in a credential on behalf of Hickey, thinking that maybe Penn State was going to get there. Now, I feel 2 types of way about this. Number one, I understand why Dave did it, right? Nice gesture. Hickey saying Penn State could go to national championship game, and you put in the credential for Ryan. But why the heck did David Mayernick not think about who? I love David Mayernick, right? He is one of our bosses. He stole my chips last week or earlier in the week, whenever it was. And he took the barbecue chips, which I was not happy about, when a nice listener, Greg, sent me about 15 big bags of potato chips, and he takes the barbecue chips. So, okay, fine, Dave, that's fine. But now you're slighting our guy, Stu. The fact that he didn't think about Stu's team, Notre Dame, going to the national championship when, I don't know, his afternoon drive East Coast national radio host predicted Notre Dame to go to the championship, and he doesn't think, oh, maybe one of Zach's producers, who happens to be a Notre Dame fan, would want to go. You got to feel some type of way with the bosses here and management here that they said, Hickey, Penn State, they could get there. We'll put a credential in for him. But they never thought about you. That's disappointing when I heard that.
I mean, clearly I should just take the place of Hickey. I think that's an easy switch.
So that's what I would think, right? And I don't know. We got to talk to Hickey because I think he was planning on going anyway. But I know the way I know Hickey, he said to me, I think I'm going to go either way. Now that Penn State lost, that's a tough ask. It's almost as if your girlfriend breaks up with you 4 years, 5 years, and then you sit there and you got to go to a restaurant 2 weeks later and she's already moved on. She's got a new boy toy there and she's sitting there at the table with the new boy and you got to watch them have a good time. So I can understand why Hickey wouldn't want to go. But then the credential, I would think, opens up and Stu could slide in. However, I went in the fine print last night because this was on my mind. It was. I went in the fine print last night and it said, if you have any questions about the credentials, if you can't go, reach out to so-and-so with the College Football Playoff Committee, blah, blah, blah. But it said after that, it said all credential requests are final. So I don't know. Like, if Hickey doesn't want to go, could Dave Mayernick, instead of just taking our barbecue chips and not looking after Stu Kovacs, could he potentially say, hey, you could tell Zach Gelb just finished his contract negotiations and we're secured for another year. If this was a month ago, I don't know if I'm saying these things. But could our boss maybe send an email, hey, like lie a little bit? You know, not that we fired him, but he can't go. We still want to send someone. Can Stu go? I think that's something we should at least explore. And I'm going there that Monday morning, touching down like, I think 10 a.m. Eastern time, and then going to do our show from, I believe we're doing it from one of the broadcast centers there. If not, we're going to do from local affiliate like we did last year in Houston. But I think we have a setup there. And then going right to the game. And then I'm getting up the next morning, like 6 a.m. flight, flying back to get back here to do the show from our New York City studios. But I would imagine if Hickey doesn't want to go, Stu, because it is his credential, that we should explore, like you would explore wanting that credential, correct, Amundo?
Sure, I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Right? It's a free into the building.
Assuming flights aren't like $600.
So I got my flight 3 months ago. That's 3 months ago. It's $150 round trip 3 months ago. So, cha-ching. And I got a hotel like for 4 hours that I'm going to be there near the airport for like $90. So I think it's a possibility, Stu. Now, I don't want to get your hopes up because I know what the fine print said. But you first got to see if Hickey is willing to say no. If Hickey still wants to go, I think you're screwed. But then I would say maybe there's like a 20% chance they could change a credential. So it would be fun to go to the game with you, especially if it's a national championship game.
I would agree with that. That'd be a great time.
And right, your team has a chance to win that national championship.
And Hickey's does not.
No, they're done. They got eliminated last night. Oh, wow. That was nasty the way that you just said that. Like, it's expected out of me. I didn't expect that out of you.
Well, I'm trying to get the credential from him.
Yeah, that's true.
Have to make a case here.
Maybe you just punch him in the face when he walks in today. Put him on the shelf for a few weeks. Or just get a few people around here that like to talk a lot just to talk to him for an hour and just drive him insane about the whole thing. You could do that as well if you would like. So I guess we'll have to monitor the Stu credential. So we'll see what ends up happening on that front. Now, I was also reading earlier today, and by the way, before I get to the Deshaun Watson stuff, 1 down, 1 more to go, okay? Like, we have 1 down in terms of Penn State being out. I now need either Texas to beat Ohio State tonight to wave goodbye to Ryan Day, or, Stu, we're going to really need the best effort of Notre Dame's program history up against Ohio State a few weeks from now if Ohio State does advance the national championship tonight and they go up against Notre Dame coming up on January 20th. But before we get to the national championship game and then we turn our attention to the NFL, you would think today on a Football Friday wild card weekend that we would be the first NFL segment talking about one of the playoff teams. I saw a report this morning that Deshaun Watson ruptured his Achilles again. He ruptured it again. And Ian Rappaport said he could miss all of 2025. Now, Adam Schefter since then said they're optimistic it's only going to be a 7-month recovery, which would open up a chance for him to return for next season. Either way, Deshaun Watson is done. I thought Deshaun Watson was done before we found out he ruptured his Achilles again. And I thought Cleveland should have moved on from him, or Cleveland just should have made him the starting quarterback for next year. He's got 2 years left of the contract. You're paying him the money either way. He's just not good anymore. He was at one point a top 7 quarterback in the league, trending towards the elite category. I know it's tough to separate off the field, but if he was balling out on the field, we would have had a situation where people would have just said, hey, even though this is terrible to say because it's disgusting what he's accused of off the field, but this is just how the NFL world works, people would have ignored what happened off the field like the Browns did because they gave him a fully guaranteed contract and traded all that money, and he would still be the Browns quarterback because people do a lot of wrong things off the field as long as you're not in a jail cell and you could score touchdowns. That's what a lot of fans only care about. Right or wrong, from a morality standpoint, that's different and a moral standpoint, but in terms of just how the game of the NFL works, that's just a fact. So Deshaun Watson hasn't played at a great level since 2020. 2021, didn't play at all. 2022, suspended. 2023, got hurt. 2024 got hurt. But even when he was healthy and playing, he was a bad quarterback. So I would have moved on anyway if I was Cleveland and would not have made him my starter for this upcoming season. Now we don't even know when he's going to potentially return. But you ask yourself, what will the Browns do? Now, they have a decision to make. They can get on a rookie contract, a brand new quarterback. They got the 2nd overall pick in the draft. So you could get either Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. But you got to love the quarterback to take the quarterback. And if you don't love the quarterback, whether it's Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward, then you have other options to think about. And those other options to think about are 3 veterans. One is Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers wants to continue to play on a 1-year deal, does a team like the Cleveland Browns take a chance? Because I don't think if Rodgers wants to come back, right now I lean the Jets won't bring him back. I'm going to think they don't bring him back. But if Rodgers then still wants to play and go elsewhere, there's not a lot of great options there. So I don't think Rodgers is in a position to really dictate where he wants to go if he definitely wants to play. Now, the other 2 options, Kirk Cousins and Sam Darnold. And you could maybe even go Justin Fields if the Steelers say, hey, they want to keep Russell Wilson. If you want to take a 1-year flyer on Justin Fields. But Sam Darnold, you're going to have to commit a long-term contract to. And I don't know if the Browns are going to want to commit a long-term contract to Sam Darnold, but they still have to pay 2 more years of Deshaun Watson. And Sam Darnold's fine, but he's not someone that's an elite quarterback. Now, could it be Kirk Cousins with the Stefanski connection and maybe Kirk, right, who got that monster deal from Atlanta if he gets released and says, hey, I'm not going to take a trade and you got to release me? Could you see Kirk Cousins do what Russell Wilson did this past year? And since he made all that money on that contract that still has years left on it, and you take like a league minimum, a veteran league minimum, $1.5, $2 million, yeah, I guess you could do that as well. So those are the options that are out there. You have to explore the draft first, but if not the draft, and I know free agency happens before the draft, if you don't love someone by the time free agency opens up, Sam Darnold's there, Aaron Rodgers is there, and then we'll see what ends up happening with Kirk Cousins. Because I know Terry Fontenot said the other day, we're fine with him being a backup. It's easy to say now because why would you say anything else? You want someone to trade him. I don't think anyone's going to trade, though, for Kirk Cousins. So those are the options for the Cleveland Browns. But I would never play Deshaun Watson ever again. All right, we'll take a timeout. Andrew Whitworth will join us on the other side. We'll go around Wild Card Weekend and also get his thoughts on some other football happenings as well. Update time first. Here's the Ackman, Rich Ackerman.
Infinity Sports Network, Sports Flash.
And it's sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with their easy-to-use mobile app. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com. Deshaun Watson going for another procedure after tearing his Achilles again, putting his 2025 season in jeopardy. The Browns have the number 2 pick in the upcoming draft and this might make them lean more heavily towards selecting a quarterback. Jalen Hurts has cleared concussion protocol and will start for the Eagles on Sunday against the Packers. Last night's Orange Bowl was thrilling. Tonight's Cotton Bowl also shaping up to be special as Texas meets Ohio State for the right to face Notre Dame for the national championship. Both come in at 12-2. The Buckeyes have bounced back nicely after a season-ending loss to Michigan. Head coach Ryan Day said the expanded playoff has given them another life.
Every week we've had an opportunity to grow and to build, and we're excited about being here in this spot. Again, I'll echo what Coach said about this new format has allowed teams to grow throughout the season.
And former Georgia quarterback Carson Beck has committed to Miami. I'm Rich Ackerman.
The Infinity Sports Network is on your smart speaker. All you have to say is, play Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show.
And it's time to ask the pros, where the listener gets to ask us a question. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simply tweet your question at INFSportsNet or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag #AskThePros. Be listening later in the show. We might answer your question. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts. And also, fans can catch the NFL wildcard game between the Ravens and the Steelers this Saturday, January 11th, on Prime Video, with coverage beginning at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And a man that is a part of that broadcast team is Andrew Whitworth, who played in the NFL from 2006 to 2021 with the Bengals and the Rams, is a Super Bowl champion, the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award winner in 2021. But I think more importantly, for all big fellas now, he is a fashion icon. I love what this dude wears on Prime Video with the sports jacket and then casually wearing the sweatshirt as well. And he's kind enough to join us right now. Big Whit, what's going on, my man?
What's going on, baby? I appreciate that love. You know, a fashionista. I don't know if I ever thought I'd be known for anything that had to do with clothing, but other than it maybe being too small for me. So it's good days being in retirement, that's for sure.
And you're also a man's man. Like, you don't need to wear the gloves when you're on the road, because I know Tony Gonzalez, you guys give him a lot of crap whenever he wears those mittens, right?
Yeah, you know, offensive linemen, we get a lot of grief, you know, for our body types. But one thing we can handle well is the cold weather. So but I will say this: I'm getting softer in retirement. I've gotten much colder over the last couple of years than I used to. I used to be wearing athletic wear out there in these conditions, and now I'm bundled up a little bit. I gotta increase my toughness level, that's for sure.
Well, I'll just say this. So Tony came on the show before the start of the season, and one of my producers was calling him out for wearing the gloves when it's really not that cold. And he said, I'm going to continue to wear the gloves. My analytics show that he did not wear the gloves at all this year. So I think we're getting to him. I think everyone's getting to Tony. We're in his head.
He's been working, man. He's been toughening himself up. I think I don't remember him, complaining that much about the cold this year. So you know what? I think it's working. Everybody's put a little pressure on him, and he's rising to the challenge. I mean, look, the guy's good at everything. So we at least had coldness to pick on him about, but now we're losing that.
Andrew Whitworth here with us. All righty, so your game, Steelers and Ravens. Let me start you off with the Steelers, right? Russell Wilson has been fine this year, but I don't know if I'm committing a long-term contract to him. Justin Fields, he was okay to start the season, then they benched him. Do you expect either of these guys to be the starting quarterback next year for the Steelers, or then maybe they go elsewhere this offseason?
Well, I think it'll be an interesting offseason for them to make a decision there, because you really look at it either way, they've got to make some commitments. But I think, when you look at this season and really how it's gone, I don't know that either one's been really the better one. I know people, just because Russell had a hot streak there when he came in and played, and there was a little elevation of the offense, really the long term, what you've seen out of this offense is they've almost got 6 games under 20 points. Like, it hasn't been some great offense either way. And so I think when you really look at some of the things they've struggled with, it was one of the reasons I was a little hesitant on moving to Russell, is like the red zone. I mean, this team was going to be built on playing great defense, running the football, ball possession, like, hey, we're gonna possess the ball all game. We're gonna play great defense, and when we get down the red zone, you're gonna have to defend Justin Fields just like you do everybody else. That's a running quarterback, and so we're gonna be able to do different things that put you in a tough position defensively. All 11 are gonna have to be accounted for, and then they've struggled. I mean, as Russell's been able to throw the ball, and he's had some success with the deep ball at times this season, but when they get to the red zone, they've really struggled. And so to me, I wouldn't be surprised to see if Mike Tomlin does it to us again and adds a wrinkle. Do we see more of Justin Fields in this game in some of those situations and have some packages in now that he's healthy, just to add an element that gives them some boost on offense?
Yeah, I'm just curious here, just to throw out two names that could be available this offseason. If, let's say, things don't go well for Monday night with Sam Darnold and the Vikings want to go to J.J. McCarthy, and then Aaron Rodgers, if he wants to play next year, but if the Jets don't want him back, do you think Rodgers or Darnold, would it all be intrigue playing for the Steelers?
Oh, I think so. I mean, you look at Arthur Smith and really how this offense is built. I mean, you better run the football, build some play actions off of it. George Pickens being a great deep ball guy. I mean, Aaron Rodgers would obviously love that. So I think that they definitely have an ability that, hey, I don't know why a quarterback wouldn't want to come here that feels like they can go play at a high level, because they've got some pieces, to be able to run the football. They got some good young offensive linemen in the interior. Obviously, the tackles have struggled, and they got to improve there. But defensively, they're also built to stop teams and to play really well, even though you would argue that, hey, people are saying, oh, man, defensively the last few weeks it's not been as good. Well, they've been under stress all season that they've got to hold people to a certain clip or they don't have a chance of winning. And when you continue to do that, eventually you're going to leak some. And so there's been too much pressure on this defense all season long. So offensively, they got to get more production and be able to, really put up some more points, give this defense a chance to play from ahead every now and then. And so I think when you look at it, if I was a quarterback and I believe in myself that I can go and have an impact, I would see Pittsburgh as a great spot to go do that.
Andrew Whitworth here with us. Where's the confidence in the AFC? The Chiefs are the standard. Everyone then is going to say, if you have to find a way to have someone take them out, it's either going to be Lamar Jackson or it's going to be Josh Allen. Do you have more confidence in Lamar or Josh Allen, or is it kind of the same?
I think both of those guys are incredibly talented. I think when you really look at them, I don't think there's any less confidence in one or the other. I think both of them are a ton of fun to watch and entertaining guys, from every aspect of the game. The things they can pull off are just unbelievable. But I think when I look at the football teams, really what this Ravens team's has really piqued my most interest because of what they've been able to do this second half of the season on defense. I mean, that complete turnaround, all season long they've been great against the run, but in the passing game, they were one of the worst the first 10 weeks of the season, and really since that point they've been one of the best. And so to have that kind of turnaround and now say, all right, we got Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, all these weapons and personnel packages we can play with, and then we have a defense that backs it up. To me, they're kind of rounding themselves into one of the most complete teams in the league. And so I really look at them as a team that if they can perform the exact way they have in the regular season, offensively and defensively in this second half, they, to me, could be the team that represents the AFC because they look capable of being able to go into Kansas City, put up points, and then on the other side of it, play really well on defense because Kansas City at times this season has shown us that offensively they're not the team of old.
Who's the team, Andrew Whitworth, that you trust the most in the NFC entering this postseason?
I think to me, if you look throughout the season, I think if you said the team you trust the most, it's the Detroit Lions. Do I think they'll represent the Super Bowl? I mean, they are my pick with the Eagles that I've said all year long. I've gone back and forth on which one I thought it'd be every week. I feel like they changed my mind. But what I think has really been the most impressive is we can talk about injuries for Detroit. We can talk about all these things they've lost, but each and every week, what shows you what is a great football team is whoever you put out there, how do they go out and perform? And every week they are able to put together a plan, go out and execute it, and you keep telling yourself, well, they've lost this guy and that guy, but where does it show up? And you keep trying to make sure you're finding a spot where it shows up because all they do is go out and win and play well. I think that has been really impressive to watch. Where I think it could show up, to me, is you look at this Philadelphia Eagles team built in the trenches just like the Detroit Lions. The O-line and the D-line are really special football players. And if those two teams match up in the NFC Championship, that's where it could show up to me, because then you're going to be talking about, all right, you don't have an Aiden Hutchinson, you don't have some of these guys, and you got one of the best offensive lines in football, and a team that's got Saquon Barkley. They have all the weapons on the outside just like you do. And so in some version of, hey, these two offenses are built almost the exact same in the sense of what they're capable of, now it's going to come down to who has who. And the Philadelphia Eagles are healthier. They've got a better front when you talk about the guys they have available to them. And to me, that could be the moment that's going to be defining to them. Do we start to see some of these things show up? Because now they're going to be playing a team that's built exactly like them and has the capability they have. And then they add the added part of Jalen Hurts and what he's able to do with his legs.
I want to ask you about your alma mater, LSU. I know you won a national championship there. Brian Kelly left Notre Dame to go to LSU because he didn't think he could win a national championship at Notre Dame, and we know three head football coaches have done so since the early 2000s. Now Notre Dame is one win away from winning it all. LSU is not even in the postseason. When you look at a 12-team college football playoff, 3 years in, where's the confidence level now with Brian Kelly moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, I think this landscape has changed so much. I mean, I was just telling somebody today, college football is obviously been forever changed by a lot of things going on, but even more so now. I think you're going to start to see that because of some of this NIL stuff, much less all the craziness that's going on with money and everything else, it's going to be hard to load up teams like we saw the SEC be able to do, to where they were the spot for everybody to go and all the talent wanted to go there and try to win and compete against the best, and we were going to be better than everybody else. And in the insane run they had to win a national championships. Now I feel like that talent's going to be spread all across the country. And so it's going to be a much more challenging thing to just sit there and say, all right, because of where I'm at, my proximity and where I'm coaching and everything else, I'm going to nationally just get players. I don't think that's the case anymore. So I think the challenge really for Brian Kelly and LSU, much like a lot of teams are feeling, is it's a lot harder to keep players and win than it ever has been in the SEC now. And so, hats off to these teams that represent. I love the playoff format. I think it's been awesome. I know people are going to always complain about who should be in, who should be out. There's always an issue. But to me, it's gotten more similar to NFL in the sense that right now we're sitting here with these 7 teams in each conference that have a chance to go win a Super Bowl, and anything can happen in these 3-hour windows in these games, just like now in college football with this playoff. Anything can happen. A team you might not have thought in the past could win a national championship has that opportunity if they can go put together a stretch of games of playing at their best. So to me, college football is at a great place with that part of it. I just think it's going to be more challenging in the SEC to just sit there and say, because I'm an SEC school and I got a lot of money and it's a great place to go play football, we're going to win. It's a lot more challenging than ever. And
last thing I'll bring up to you, Andrew Whitworth, before we let you run, Vikings and Rams obviously got moved because of the wildfires, and I know that you live in L.A., you're in Baltimore for the game this weekend, but just hope everything's okay, obviously, with you and your family and all the people, obviously, out in L.A., as it's a scary time right now.
Yeah, we are okay. It's been a very scary week. It's been a tough one. It's been a few years now that we've been dealing with fires, even when I was playing for the Rams. And, it's just unfortunate. This week has been, probably one of the worst in the history, and a lot of homes lost, a lot of things lost by a lot of people. And so your heart goes out to them. And at the same time, you're in awe and just grateful for our first responders and the people that were able to, keep the human beings, the people safe. We might have lost a lot of structures, but our people are safe. And we believe a lot in our LA community and the strong, proud people they are. And so we will step by step do our best to be a part of the solution and helping this community build back. And it will take time. But right now we have heavy hearts for all those that have lost something, and just our prayers and thoughts are with them.
Well said. Always appreciate you coming on, and thanks so much and good luck. Appreciate you doing this.
Hey, appreciate you.
There is Andrew Whitworth. Fans once again can catch the NFL wildcard game between the Ravens and the Steelers this Saturday, January 11th, on Prime Video, with coverage beginning at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It is the Zach Gelb Show right here, Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
All righty, hour number 2 of our great, and I mean great radio program, where we're just having a grand old time today. It's just a 3-hour celebration, and we will have a funeral on the air coming up in an hour 20 from now. Ryan Hot Take Hickey is in the building. I just had a conversation with him. Didn't gloat, didn't dance on his grave. We'll say that for 5:20 p.m. Eastern time. I said, how you doing? I go, my condolences. Sorry for your loss. You looked miserable last night. You looked really sad. It actually upset me. My heart did break for you that Penn State finally had James Franklin show up in a big game, but his quarterback wasn't there, and Drew Aller was a big-time problem. And Hickey looked at me, and he goes, I'm still in a state of shock. He goes, I just can't believe they lost the game. So I don't like to do the show before the show happens, right? I just like to do the show as the show happens. So I said, Hickey, nothing against you. I'm going to let you be with your thoughts right now, give you your alone time, let you mourn in private, and we'll talk to you at 5:20 p.m. Eastern time. Now, here's the thing, Stu, that I'll just ask you this. So when I texted him today, Hickey can't be this naive. He has done this playbook before. He knows that I'm going to just be ruthless, and I mean ruthless, about Penn State's loss to Notre Dame when he joins us in studio. But I texted him today at 9:47 a.m. Eastern time. Are you in today? Can we get you on today as our guest picker for NFL picks at 5:20? If so, just 3 picks against the spread. He wrote back, yes, exclamation point. I'm in, exclamation point. That works, 2 thumbs up. Thanks for thinking of me. Now, he can't be that naive, right? Sometimes Hickey, nice guy, innocent guy. He can't be that naive to think we're only talking against the spread picks for wild card weekend. Because that response would indicate, because I thought I was getting a little pushback. I know Hickey was going to come on the air, right, and take his beating like a man. But I would have thought he would have at least responded with some sarcastic gesture of, yeah, and I'm sure we're going to talk about Penn State. Or and you want me to preview Texas, Ohio State. But I don't know how to read into that, Stu. He's got to know, right?
He knows. I think he's just being nice.
Okay. Be on brand for Hickey.
Yeah, definitely.
Be the nice guy around here. All righty. So a few things from the game last night. If I'm a Penn State fan today, I am absolutely positively furious with Drew Aller. Now, Drew Aller could have thrown 2 interceptions earlier in the game that were negated by penalties. Now, the first one, I don't know about you, Stu. I thought it was a little ticky-tacky, but that was a legit pass interference call on the first one with the tugging of the jersey right at the goal line. The second one, I was irate. Absolutely irate on the second pass interference call because they were letting him play for most of the game. Don't get me wrong. The defender's back is to the football, but I didn't think there was enough contact there, and the ball was nowhere close to being catchable. And it was completely underthrown. I was livid with the officials, and a lot of other people were. I know, hey, Greg McElroy, who I love, and he was doing the game last night. Greg McElroy said he had no problem with the call, and he thought it was a good call. And then Dan Orlovsky, who we also like, right, who comes on this show a bunch, Orlovsky said that was a horrific call. And I thought it was interesting because, right, when Darius Butler's doing the broadcast with Pat McAfee, which I wasn't watching. I was watching the main game broadcast with Sean McDonough and Greg McElroy. But I saw a clip that McAfee put out, and Darius Butler hated the call. Right? That's a defensive back, though. You would expect a defensive back to hate the call. But I thought it was interesting how 2 quarterbacks, right, who would be looking for that call if they were playing in the game, one quarterback in Greg McElroy was like, great call. The other in Dan Orlovsky thought it was a horrible and an egregious call. In the moment, what did you think of the second interception by Aller that was negated by the pass interference when you had 3 guys that were on Tyler Warren?
Yeah, I thought it was a bad call and just such a bailout because it was a bad throw by Aller. And it just, they make some of these calls sometimes, but it just feels like that's not a call that should dictate the game. Mm-hmm. And I was worried that was going to be a call that we were going to look back at, and let's say Notre Dame lost by 3. That's going to be the talking point, not the game itself.
Yeah, and that's a great point that you made, because I tweeted something out along those lines when it did happen. was I said, I just hope Notre Dame marches down the field here and gets a touchdown, because then it's like, okay, sure, the officials gave him the touchdown, but it didn't end up crushing and impacting Notre Dame, because then they answer right back with the touchdown, and it's okay, tie game, Penn State ends up getting the ball back. And when Greathouse, the defender falls down, he scores a touchdown. Were you going nuts? How were your emotions during this game?
I screamed when he caught that ball, juked the guy out and ran all the way down the field. Yeah, I was pretty crazy at that point.
So set the scene. Are you high-stepping around the living room? Is the popcorn and the chips, the wings and the pepperoni pizza, is it flying all over the place?
I was well done at that point eating, but I just jumped up and I think I pumped my fist and yelled. I probably said something I can't say on the radio as well.
Okay, yes. FES, something like that?
Yeah, something of that. Yeah, okay. Definitely something like that.
So it's so funny, and you were just watching the game with your girlfriend, correct?
Yes.
All right, so I'm not saying that you were civil, but it's not as if you had 8, 9 guys, right? You're watching with your buddies, and everyone's just going around as if it's just like an Animal House, right? So I'll never forget this. Patriots-Seahawks Super Bowl. So I was supposed to go. And I was supposed to go for Radio Row, and then I was going to probably buy a ticket out there. Now, I was living in Philadelphia in the time. We got hit with a terrible, and I mean a terrible snowstorm where my flight got canceled. So my flight got canceled. I think then I wasn't doing Monday, Tuesday out there. I was just going Wednesday. They said I couldn't get back out there until Saturday with the airlines. And I was like, all right, if I'm not going there for Radio Row, and I was trying to get a ticket out there anyway, which I usually end up getting, and I'm able to procure, I go, you know what, I'll just watch the game with my family. So I watched the game at my uncle's house. My uncle grew up in Framingham, Massachusetts. Family friends, really close with Andre Tippett, practically related because he grew up with Andre Tippett's now wife, and the families are just very, very close. Like Andre Tippett, when my Uncle Gary's father passed away many years ago, he was in the hospital room. And they used to have season tickets for all those years and all that. So big Patriot football family. So I'm watching that game. And remember, not that you need to kind of play the small violin for me, Stu, but at the time, the Patriots already have won 3 Super Bowls. But that Seahawks-Patriots Super Bowl, they then lost 2. The undefeated season, no more, 18-1 with the Giants, and the Mario Manningham with the Giants as well. So that game is back and forth. It's mayhem. It's craziness. And you take a look, you think the Seahawks it was actually, let me get this in right order. The Julian Edelman touchdown catch that put them up in the fourth quarter, where they entered, the fourth quarter down 10 to the LOB. They eventually take the lead to Julian Edelman. So I'm watching the game. It's one of my uncle's brothers, David. It's my cousin, Ryan. It's my Uncle Gary's nephew, Simi. It's me, it's my Uncle Gary, and then a bunch of other people. And it must have been 15 to 20 people watching this game in their living room. Pretty big living room. But my cousin, Amanda, her boyfriend at the time, who is no longer in the picture, but her boyfriend of many years was at that Super Bowl. So this was the scene, and I'll never forget this. When Julian Edelman caught that touchdown, I jump out of my chair and I just do a fist pump, Stu, like this, where I'm like, yeah! Simultaneously, as I'm giving that big fist pump with my big paw that I have, Adam, who was, shouldn't have said his name, but whatever. Adam, who was my cousin's boyfriend, got up and walked right in front of my fist pump. And it grazed him. So I actually punched him. But when I have video. When the Malcolm Butler interception happened, it was just mayhem. It was a pig pile. Bodies were flying everywhere. People jumping up and down, hugging, rolling on the floor. It was crazy because it was an out-of-body experience. We thought they were going to lose the game. But for you last night, you want to see this team get to the championship game. What was the out-of-body experience? Was it the kick? What was it? The touchdown by Great? What was the moment for you? The Drew Aller interception?
I was going to say it's the interception for me. That was the one. And then I kind of felt pretty good at that point.
Because it was so stunning.
Yeah.
Like, I don't fault, right, Drew Aller and also James Franklin for saying, okay, we're going to believe in Drew Aller and go for it. But if that's a freshman quarterback, I'm not saying I understand the mistake, but okay, it happens. It's a guy that's been in the program for 3 years. And he's supposed to be the franchise-altering quarterback to take Penn State, right? This is what the Penn State cult will tell you with the Penn State propaganda. Drew Aller's going to make us from very good to elite. And last year up against Ohio State, he stunk. This year, he's had moments, right? Second half against USC where it's good, but it's USC. Right? The Ohio State game didn't play well. But you had a chance to go to the national championship game, or at least bare minimum, just get to overtime. Take the sack there, and you throw the ball to the Notre Dame defender, and you get intercepted. I couldn't believe that. I couldn't believe that whatsoever. By the way, what were your emotions? I want to see if we had the same thought here. What were your emotions on the kick when you were watching?
You mean leading up to the kick or the actual kick?
The actual kick. I want to see if you're thinking the same way I was.
So he kicked it, and it looked pretty like on line with the right upright.
Right?
And then I was like, oh no, this has a chance to turn right and be wide right, but luckily it stayed left and,
So I am standing in my living room, and I eventually just getting like a catcher's position, kind of like if I was like playing catcher for the Mets. And I'm like, all right, come on, make the kick, make the kick, make the kick. And I didn't know at first if because I was like crouching down, if just maybe my angle was off. But I'm like, oh no, he's going to miss it. And then it just goes right on line, boom, in, and curves right in. And how about the kicker, Jeter's his dad? The dad, everyone's recording this moment. When they show the dad, I'm like, oh no. I thought he was going to make the kick until they saw the dad. And when I see the dad recording, I go, I hope this kick goes through. Because then you have this video on your phone. Sure, you can delete it and go in your recent delete it and delete it. But that dad would have got clowned if he was recording his son as his son's trying to put the Irish in the championship game and then the kick doesn't go through. So I'm glad that we kind of thought it the same way because everyone's view is different, that the kick I thought for a minute was going to miss.
And he had a tough year, too, because he had like a groin injury in the middle of the year, and he missed like a bunch of like 30, 35-yard field goals kind of in a row. It's kind of like towards the end of the season. But
and he's coming over South Carolina, right?
Yeah, and he was really good. Mm-hmm. Like I said, had a bit of an injury, and then he's really the only kicker they have. And so, he looks healthy now, but a little skeptical, of course, that, that kick wasn't going to go in.
So here's the crazy part, too, because this game's on Drew Aller. So this third quarterback position in the draft this year, does anyone want it? Because, right, 1 and 2 is between Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. If you want Cam 1, Shedeur 2, fine. If you want Shedeur 1, Cam 2, fine. But even Christian Hackenberg joined us. He said if Drew Aller gets his team to a national championship game and plays well, right, and goes on some run, he's got to rethink his decision. And I've never looked at Drew Aller. A lot of people like Hannah Fan, who joins us a bunch, Hackenberg, they speak the world of Drew Aller. And it's not just them. There was a lot of Drew Aller buzz leading up to this game. And I just never seen it on the field consistently. Moments, but never consistently. But there was a lot of buzz before this game. If Drew Aller plays well, he may have to go to the pros because he could be the third quarterback in this draft and be a first-round pick. And last night, hey, he already announced he's coming back. There's no way that you could declare for the draft now. But Carson Beck, who was supposed to be the guy this year, and he's supposed to be the first quarterback taken in a lot of these mock drafts before the start of the college football season. And Carson Beck had a horrible year. He's still declared for the draft, coming off this injury. And today, right, you heard yesterday he's going to enter the transfer portal. Supposedly the deal's already done, and he's off to Miami, which we were speculating yesterday. So Carson Beck is now not going to be in the NFL draft. And Jalen Milroe, he declared for the NFL draft, but Jalen Milroe, he's been another guy. After that Georgia game, he was horrible this year. The difference with Milroe from the ceiling and the floor, there's no middle ground. It's either he is down and out or he's floating high, and it is unbelievable. But there has not been a guy like Dylan Gabriel, but he's shorter, and he did not play well, obviously, up against Ohio State. So even he hasn't been able to take the moment and run with it with the opportunity. So to see who's going to be the third quarterback taken in this draft is crazy. And if you ask me, who's the quarterback this year that was the most disappointing in college football? You could go through all these names and you could talk about, it's this guy, it's that guy, it's this guy, it's that guy. I really think it's between two guys. And the two guys, and maybe, hey, Quinn Ewers has a moment tonight. That's another thing. Maybe Quinn Ewers then go pro and he's the third guy off the board. That's a possibility. There's some intrigue. I don't think pro intrigue for Will Howard. He could be a pro quarterback, but I don't think he's ever going to be someone's starter. But Will Howard could maybe do himself some favors tonight. But really, the decision to me on who's the most disappointing quarterback this year in college football, it's tough not to say DJ Uiagalelei, but we've already crushed him enough, to be fair. But I'm talking about guys that we thought could be really high draft picks. It's between Jalen Milroe and Carson Beck. And since Beck was supposed to be the first quarterback off the board before the season did commence, and now he has to transfer, and he's not even going to draft, and I think that's the right decision to go play at Miami. The fact that he has to go away from Georgia to kind of redefine his career, I would say that it's Carson Beck. But there's been a lot of disappointing quarterback play around college football this year. All righty, it is Wild Card Weekend. We'll take a timeout. When we come on back, Mason Crosby, the former Packers kicker, is going to join us. He now does a radio show on 1250 The Fan in Milwaukee. 855-212-4227. 855-212-4227. It is the Zach Gelb Show right here on the Infinity Sports Network. You can always give us a follow on Instagram and Twitter at Zach Gelb. That's ZACHGELB.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
Alrighty, this is Zach Gelb Show, Infinity Sports Network. We hopefully should be joined momentarily by the former NFL kicker for the Green Bay Packers in Mason Crosby, who now hosts his own radio show, The Mason Crosby Show, on The Fan in Milwaukee. I want to play you this audio clip right here. So remember a few weeks ago when Cam Newton was on First Take and Cam basically said Notre Dame doesn't belong in the college football playoff? Well, here's Cam today on the ESPN. Now this is what he's saying about Notre Dame.
I'm ready for Notre Dame to play in a conference. It's almost like that person that's sitting in the playground and say, no, y'all hash it out. And when y'all hash it out, y'all gonna knock each other off, and then I'm gonna step in the forefront. I see a stat that says they're 7-0 versus ranked opponents. Mm-hmm. Now, that could be a very subjective and a real kind of skewed kind of statistic. Those teams are as follows. Texas A&M, okay. Louisville, Navy, Indiana, Army, Georgia without Carson Beck, and then also Penn State. So with that, I'm not trying to rain on their parade because their defense is legit. Yes. But I'm saying the road to where they got, and that's my questionable mark.
So if you say that Notre Dame needs to join a conference, that's fine. My only problem is you can't say that today after you said they didn't deserve to be in the college football playoff and they just beat Georgia and also Notre Dame. So also Penn State, excuse me. So I thought that was a bad job by Cam Newton today on ESPN. But now let's go out to the guest line, and we welcome in a man that hosts a radio show in Milwaukee right now. You can also listen to it on the always free Odyssey app, and that is the Mason Crosby Show with former NFL kicker, obviously Mason Crosby, who played with the Green Bay Packers from 2007 to 2022. Mason, appreciate the time. Thanks so much for doing this, and how you been?
I'm doing great. Yeah, thanks for having me on, and fighting some snow here in Middle Tennessee. We've probably got about 6 inches of snow, so enjoying that. The kids are running around, having a good time, but I'm hiding out in my cabin room up here, just getting ready for this big game tonight, Ohio State versus Texas. Let's go.
Yeah, we'll get to that in just a bit. Also, you got the wild card weekend games. I know your Packers on Sunday at 4:30 are going to be in South Philadelphia going up against the Eagles, but I'll never forget, you did a fantasy file kicking video when I was younger, and it was the sickest thing I think I've ever seen, where you were outside a church or a big building that has one of the bells on the top that rings to tell the time, and you fired off 3 kicks, and all 3 connected with the bell. What do you remember about shooting that? It was probably like, 06, 07, 08, somewhere around there.
It was 2008, and yeah, that was the Green Bay courthouse. So wow. A lot of people in Green Bay don't even know where I was or what I was doing. Everyone thinks it was a church or some random place, but it was right downtown Green Bay. Since I've shot that, they actually fixed the kind of copper, took some of the patina out. Like they really made it nice. So maybe it had something to do with that. They saw some of those hits on that and they're like, oh my gosh, we need to clean this up. And if anyone finds out where this is, if they come check it out and do a little pilgrimage out there. But we were talking about that actually on the show, kicking those balls off the bell tower. I had David Akers on and he was talking about, his, where he flicked the ball up and then hit it 60, a 60-yard field goal, the Calvin Johnson one. So every fall, those fantasy files, those pop back up and everybody sends me a clip like, oh my gosh, when was this? What was that? And I still try to pretend like it wasn't CGI, but obviously I wasn't kicking the ball up there to the bell tower.
Wait, that wasn't real?
I was really kicking. Yeah. Honestly, the amount of kicks I did that day was probably more than I did in a normal week of work.
Yeah.
You know how some of those things are. The production crew, they're like, oh gosh, I didn't like how you said it. And I was running through all 3 kicks every time.
Wow.
So it was like, I probably kicked 150 balls, just through the thing. But so there was a little theatrical and production value, involved in that. But I won't give away all the secrets.
So out of 150, how many do you think you actually successfully hit? Just wondering if you had to go back.
Oh man, well, if you watch it, I had to hit them so quick, and I was just kind of going. I mean, probably about, probably half of them would have flown. Would have been pretty solid. The other ones, some of them were rushed. They were all really tight together, so you're trying to avoid hitting another tee or doing something else. But those types of things are so fun. I've been fortunate enough to do a lot of ads and commercials and different things like that. And that one was 2008. So my second year in the NFL. And that was a fun one for me. I did a McDonald's ad with Donald Driver. That was probably the other one that was, pretty big moment for me. We were supposed to be in Wisconsin, I think late fall, and we were in Texas in July. So just imagine how hot we were, full pads, full uniform in Texas in July, trying to pretend like we're in Wisconsin, late October. It was probably one of the toughest acting jobs I've ever had to do.
Was that the whole Taken, Mason Crosby, Taken thing with fantasy? Because my friends, we still to this day, whenever somebody picks someone on our offline draft, it's like, oh, Mason Crosby's already taken from that commercial.
Yeah, I don't. No, that one wasn't the Taken one, I don't think. But I did do I did some fantasy stuff. So yeah, I love those those opportunities that I had to jump on and do some fantasy files things, some some commercials like that with McDonald's and other things. So those are things maybe I'll dabble in that space again someday, but that time might have passed me by, since I'm not playing anymore.
Yeah, not the easiest thing to do still these days. Mason Crosby here with us. Alrighty. Let's get to the game coming up on Sunday. I'll be in attendance at the link. I'm looking forward to making the drive down from New York City. So Packers this year, there was a lot of intrigue with them because they were so good last year. And it's like, okay, can they take the next step up against the better opponents? They did not win twice. Vikings twice against the Lions. They lost the Eagles in Brazil to open up the season. Where's your confidence with the Packers going into this weekend in a tough environment in Philly?
Oh, gosh. See, I always have to turn off my player hat and put on now in this new gig and doing the radio and podcasts and the media side. I'm like, oh man, it's going to be a tough test for him. I think this Philly team, some people talking, I've been listening. It's everyone's kind of been sleeping on them. I feel like for the last few weeks, they had a little kind of a patch in the middle of the season where it's they lost, or it was early, lost to the Bucks. Couldn't just really figure it out on offense, it seemed like, but their defense has kind of kept them in this, throughout the season. And I think it's going to be a tight game. I think it's, going to be low scoring. I think both defenses are really solid. They're very similar on how they play the game. I think Philly's a little more attacking in their front seven, but, sit back. If you look, both their corners do not have an interception, which is wild. But, Johnson Gardner has 6, Blankenship has 4. They just find ways to kind of attack you in different different areas. So I think they'll sit back off our receivers, try to force us. Okay, can we run the ball against us? If they can stop the run, how are the Packers going to attack them in different ways? But for me, I was talking on the radio this week, and I'm just like, okay, player perspective, you're going into everything where it's like, yeah, we're winning this game. Sure. We're doing all the stuff. We're doing it. I'm like, all right, how can they win this game? What's it going to look like? My prediction on my show was that, unfortunately, I had the Eagles winning 24-20. I felt like I was picking the Packers because I had them covering the spread. So, it kind of was a win-win for me. But, I think the Eagles are going to just be a little too much. I think we'll be able, the Packers will be able to handle Saquon like they did a little bit. He scored 3 touchdowns, but he didn't go off on them, kind of down in distance. But it's going to be a tough task. And I think Jalen Hurts, and in all reality, if his head's good, if he's coming off this concussion thing, he's going to be rested. So he's probably feeling the best he has all season. And so I think Eagles will go how Jalen goes. And I think the Packers have to get Jordan Love just to make that offense dynamic. They'll run the ball with Josh Jacobs. That's been their recipe towards the end of the season, but they have to go with Jordan Love. If they're going to win this game, he's going to have to go off and have an epic game.
Mason Crosby here with us for a few more moments. So they tried the receiver by committee this year, and they're in the postseason. Yeah. We know what they did last year. Christian Watson, unfortunately, is now out for the season with the injury he suffered the other week. I still think they need a bona fide number 1 wide receiver. I saw Devontae Adams today was on McKay Adams. Wouldn't rule out a return to the Packers. T. Higgins could be a free agent. Like, that's something probably the Packers should explore this offseason. T. Higgins spending some big money on him, or maybe pulling off a little trade with the Jets to go bring Devontae Adams back to Green Bay.
Yeah, we've talked about that a little bit on the show there in Milwaukee, that I'm a big proponent that you need a number 1 wide receiver. You need that, that security blanket, that guy that's going to make the play and step up in the big moments that a quarterback can lean on, he can rely on. I think Jordan has looked at Tucker Kraft at times, like when Christian's out, whenever some of his guys are banged up, when Romeo Doubs is out, I think likes to go to Tucker in that tight end position, but you have to have a number 1 wide receiver. Devontae, obviously him saying he's willing to, that's going to require some work, obviously with the Jets and whatever happens there. But I really think the T. Higgins would be a great fit there. Love Devontae. I think if he could come back, that would be unreal. But I think a T. Higgins, with what he's done, he's kind of ready now to take that next step, get out from, under the Jamar Chase and be in that system. And I think that would be a really good fit for him if the Packers could go and get someone like that. And that's what I've been saying is free agency for me is you have to get a wide receiver. I think everyone kind of keeps talking do they cut Jair? Do they do something at corner? But I'm like, you keep Jair, you draft his replacement, you draft 2 or 3 guys that can develop and get under, kind of watch him and have his replacement. But if you want to win next year and be great on offense, I think you have to go get a number 1 receiver.
What does your gut tell you right now about your old teammate Aaron Rodgers? Has he played his final game in the NFL, Mason Crosby?
Oh gosh, yeah, that will be interesting. It felt like it. It kind of felt like it at times. I guess his last game in Green Bay was more just like he knew maybe that his time in Green Bay was over. I do think my guy Randall Cobb might have been at that last game at the Jets, so watching and his family. So that kind of might be a telltale sign that Aaron might be looking at the end, but. We'll see. I mean, honestly, his body, he looked really good other than just kind of ankle some of the stuff unfortunate that happened throughout the season. But I thought he was moving well. He seemed to really enjoy his time there with the Jets. And, he's going to have a tough decision to make. So we'll see if I can't have a conversation with him here in the next couple of weeks and pick his brain and see what he's going to do.
Yeah, that would really be something. So I'll ask you a kicking question on the way out. Justin Tucker, we know, has been the standard for so many years. This is the lowest kicking percentage of his career, so he struggled this season. But you know what he's capable of. Mentally, what do you think Justin Tucker has been going through this season, and is there any concern that will carry over into the postseason?
I mean, obviously, yeah, he's had a blip on the radar, and that's anytime you do something for a very long time, like it's hard to have sustained success the way he has. Honestly, it's like with how long he's gone without like a down season is extremely impressive. He hasn't been hurt much. He hasn't missed a lot. So all of those things play a factor. I know he's had a change in his operation here, over the last few years. And I had a lot of changes in my time there in Green Bay with Snapper and Holder, and just learning to deal with those guys, learning to, get the rhythm and the feel and all of that. And I noticed Justin's kind of the way he operated whenever he had Morgan Cox and Sam Koch, and they were just like a machine, right? That ball was just down flat. I saw the kick in Denver where Baltimore won and Flacco was the quarterback. He kicks that game winner. I mean, that ball literally, he just folded it down. It was right there. It looked like he was looking at it for a second and a half. I mean, it was just like perfect. And I know he's kind of a rhythmic guy. So, if any of those things start kind of creeping in, it can be an issue. But I would never bet against Justin Tucker come playoff time. So if there's a big kick or something that's needed for that Baltimore Ravens team and against the Steelers here in the playoffs, that's I would bet on Justin Tucker every day of the week.
I know your radio show now airs in Milwaukee on the Fan. You can listen to it on the always free Odyssey app. Tell us what you got cooking now in the media world with the radio show and the podcast.
Yeah, so I'm there at 12:50 a.m. and 105.7 FM, The Fan, Milwaukee. So got my radio voice going. It's been awesome. We're obviously with the Odyssey group, and it's great. We're bringing a station that went off air locally for about a year and a half, and so to be able to bring that back to the market, kind of just have some fresh stuff, trying to bring, some different voices and, some good energy into that space. It's been fun for me, and I'm learning a lot. It's stepping into this media world and trying to put my critical hat on and see things a little differently than whenever I was a player is fun for me, and I like the challenge. And then my brother and I are doing a podcast, Kicking It with the Crosbys, and that's you find that on the Odyssey app and Spotify and YouTube, and we're doing videos. And so my brother is he played soccer in college, he played football in high school, he knows a lot about all of it, but it's so interesting because he was at so many of my big moments as a fan, and he grew up a Packers fan. And so some of those insights, and then our brother banter is always good. Always and
good.
Fun. Yeah, he's a little brother. He'll say some things I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I want to, wring your neck. But we have a good time, and so those have been fun, and we're rolling those out twice a week right now. So we're trying to ramp that up. So go on there, check it out, and give a listen. If anyone's a soccer fan, we're diving into some like the cultural similarities and differences between the international soccer world and football. And so we're going to kind of keep diving into that, get some fan perspectives, and talk to players about who they support overseas and in the soccer space and vice versa. So it's going to be a fun journey that we're going on, and I'm excited about it.
I know that you played your college ball at Colorado. Last thing I'll ask you, Mason Crosby, you got Coach Prime right the other day, who has always denied the NFL, now saying, yeah, I'd be interested in coaching my sons like any dad would. Do you think Coach Prime is going to stay in Boulder, or is that their fear out there that, okay, he's going to probably go to the NFL in a few years? Well,
I'm pretty sure, didn't he say he'd coach if both his sons were on the same team?
Yeah.
Is that what yeah. So he's trying to set something up, see if, if anyone bites, if they can get drafted to the same team. That would be pretty cool. But that's a long shot. We'd see, we'll see if something like that happens, if he can work an angle. But, I think he seems to like it there in Boulder. He's, it's been a good fit for him. He, he's a big fisherman. I know he has a pond on his property, and he's always, posting videos of catching fish and doing that. And, I went to the Alamo Bowl and watched them, disappointing loss, but the fan base and like what he has done for that place is so awesome. And so it'd be hard if like you go and you take a risk going into the NFL where they're, you're not going to really move the needle too much, with a fan base, other than just kind of energy and excitement. He's literally brought a whole new fan base to the University of Colorado, and it's such a unique experience when you go to those games and you see what he's done there. So I hope he sticks it out. We'll see. Obviously, come draft time, if that happens and those both his sons are on the same team, does he make a move to that space? But I think he'll at least do one more year at Colorado before he ever did anything else. I think for him, it's like, okay, you get, your sons are gone, all of those things. Like, I think it will be a proving ground for him to see what he does whenever he doesn't have, his sons and those guys kind of running the offense and defense. And it's like, all right, can I take another team to the next level? I'm excited to see if he can do it.
He's Mason Crosby. Mason, really appreciate the time. Thanks so much for doing this. Good luck with the radio show and the podcast, all right?
All right, Zach, thanks. Appreciate it. And, go Pack. Good luck this weekend, boys.
You got it. There he is, Mason Crosby joining us. We'll come on back, a little onside, offside, update time first. Excuse me, check that. We're not doing onside, offside. That'll be at 5 p.m. Eastern time. We got a news brief when we come on back. Update time first. Here's the Act Man, Rich Ackerman.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
Well, the Browns will now have to consider a quarterback with a second pick overall, with Deshaun Watson possibly missing the entire 2025 season after suffering another torn Achilles and having a subsequent surgery. The Eagles will have quarterback Jalen Hurts on Sunday. He has been cleared from concussion protocol and will start against the Packers. He'll also have both of his starting wide receivers with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown also good to go. Carson Beck has found his new home. The former Georgia quarterback is headed to Miami. One half of the college football final is set. The other half will be completed tonight when Ohio State beats Texas in the Cotton Bowl for the right to meet Notre Dame. The Buckeyes, the only team to appear in 4 of the last 6 college football playoffs. Quarterback Will Howard not part of any of those. He was at Kansas State and faced the Longhorns 3 times and lost all 3. Revenge tonight would be sweet for him.
Personally, for me, a little extra motivation there because, I never got the chance to beat these guys. Played them 4 years, and they're always a good team, but I don't think none of those games were unwinnable. Last year we lost in overtime and. So definitely excited to get another chance at these guys.
Penn State defensive end Abdul Carter is entering the NFL draft. I'm Rich Ackerman.
The Infinity Sports Network is on your smart speaker. All you have to say is play Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Time for your daily news brief. We get you caught up on the rumors, reports, and reconnaissance from the day in sports.
I think it's very funny because so many people expect me today to just obliterate and just verbally destroy James Franklin, because that's what I usually do because it's easy. It's like putting the ball in the tee. I don't look at that game last night and crush James Franklin. For me, it's Drew Aller. Now, you could say, oh, you know, they didn't run the ball enough in the first half. I felt that way. That's on Cole Nicky. But still, that play at the goal line where they threw the ball on third down, the running back was open, and Aller had a terrible ball. It was a touchdown. You know, so Angel, who's in the YouTube chat, I always enjoy Angel's comments, it used to crush me. All the time, you're going to apologize to Frankie? You're going to apologize? I go, when he wins a big game, I'll apologize. And now Angel today is saying, hey, Zach, you should be ripping Franklin today. I'm like, what are we doing? So the one day where Franklin doesn't win the big game, and I don't think it's his fault, and I'm just saying it was on the quarterback, now Angel's wanted me to apologize to Franklin for beating Boise State, for crying out loud, is going after Franklin. Very entertaining. But you know what? It's a great problem to be in right now. If some people want me to crush Franklin, I'm like, I'm not doing it today. It's on Drew Aller. Let's talk to Marcus Freeman on the Irish coming on back from that bad loss to Northern Illinois back in week 2.
I often tell them, in your lowest moment, you find out the most about yourself. And we've had low moments, but we had a really low moment. We know week 2, and these guys battle. We got great leaders. We got great players that chose to put this university and this football program in front of themselves.
Let's go to Riley Leonard, saying this win is why he came to Notre Dame.
Throughout this whole offseason, everybody would ask me like, why I came to Notre Dame. And I'll give a lot of different answers, but the truth is I came here to win a national championship and, you know, to go to the best team that would give me the best odds to do that. And, obviously this is the right place and I made the right decision. So, I mean, that's why I came here at the end of the day.
He did not play great. He threw a bad interception in that game. There were moments where you thought, okay, the Riley Leonard experience is over. You know, when Riley Leonard left Duke to go to Notre Dame, I didn't think that was an upgrade, but he did enough. Even in the second chances, he did enough. And that's a big thing, and it kind of defines this season for Notre Dame. The Northern Illinois loss could have crushed them. They got a second chance. They couldn't lose a game the rest of the way, and they've done enough not losing a game since then. Alrighty, I have not listened to James Franklin yet. I refused to listen to his post-game press conference last night. You know, I was busy doing some audio editing at the expense of our friend Hot Take Hickey, who's going to join us coming up at 5:20 p.m. Eastern Time, putting together a montage. Here is James Franklin, the emotions of this loss.
As you can imagine, there's 1,000 different emotions going on and feelings. And the sun will come up tomorrow. The one thing I want to make sure that all those guys do is walk out of that locker room with their heads high and their chest out, because they have a ton to be proud of. There's about 128 teams that would give the right arm to have the season that we just had this year. So it doesn't feel that way right now, but there's a ton to be proud of.
That's why he is the dean of Participation State University. You had 3 big games this year. You lost to Ohio State, you lost to Oregon, and you lost to Notre Dame. So stop with this proud stuff. I get it. Those are your kids. I get it. You're going to be supportive. But when you start to do, there's 100-something other teams that love to be in our position, that's when you lose me. Here is James Franklin on how Drew Aller will handle this loss.
He'll handle this like he handles everything else, with a first-class approach, with an investment level that's as good as anybody in the country. His jump as a year 1 starter to a year 2 starter was significant. He's got a chance to take another step next year, but he'll handle it the right way. He's hurting right now, right? Should be hurting. We're all hurting. He'll handle it great.
The stats are so misleading on Drew Aller. Whenever you see him in a big game, he's just not a big-time quarterback. He's too inconsistent. Here is Drew Aller on the interception towards the end of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I was going through my progression, got to the backside, and honestly, I was just trying to dirt it at his feet, but I mean, I should have just thrown it away when I felt the first 2 progressions not open, just because of the situation we were in. But I was just trying to dirt it at Amari's feet, but just didn't execute what I was trying to do.
Just take the sack there. Like, even that answer, got to throw it away. Just take the sack there. Your team's being aggressive, as they should be, by going for it. But eventually you could wave the white flag and play for overtime. You could be aggressive but not be stupid. And at that rate, you panicked, you made a dumb throw. Just put 2 hands on the football and take the sack and go to overtime. Here is Adam Schefter on the ESPN on why the Raiders elected to fire Tom Telesco yesterday.
Clearly they prefer that the head coach and GM come in together at the same time, work together on the same page, and move forward in the same direction. They did not feel that Tom Telesco obviously would be somebody that would be as appealing to some of the head coaching candidates that they're speaking with. They're speaking with Ben Johnson in the coming days here.
So I think it's just simple what Schefter just said, and I said this yesterday. They need to put lipstick on a pig. That's a rotten organization right now, not a lot to offer, and you can make your job more attractive by firing the GM and saying to one of these coaches, okay, we want you. All these other teams have other GMs that it's going to be a shotgun marriage. You get to pick who the GM is, and that's ultimately why I think Tom Telesco did lose his job. All righty, that's a news brief. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Really fun first 2 hours of the radio program. You can listen to us on one of our great Infinity affiliates, Sirius XM, Channel 158, the free Odyssey app, and as always, streaming live on YouTube. We got one more hour to play. We'll come on back. We'll kick off the hour with Onside Offside. Samter and Stu, they've come up with about 5 or 6 questions. I'll give you about 5 or 6 answers when we do return. And coming up 25 minutes from now, set your alarms. It's appointment listening radio. Ryan Hot Take Hickey with his first public comments since Penn State once again lost the big game.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. here's your host, Zach Gelb.
All righty, hour number 3 of our radio program. There's a buzz in this building right now because 20 minutes from now, Ryan Hot Take Hickey is going to join us in studio after his Penn State Nittany Lions have lost to the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. See, I don't know if this is a good analogy because it doesn't really make sense, Stu, but I'm going to say it anyway. Like when you have to go to a viewing before a funeral and you have to view the body, that's what I think is going on right now in the newsroom, except Hickey's alive. Like Samter walked out there in the break. He looked at him. He said, Hickey just looked up and looked right down. I know you have walked past him. I don't know what your encounter was like with him.
I've not.
Oh, you haven't?
I've been in this room the whole time.
You guys haven't said a word to one
I have
another?
not said a word to him yet.
Oh, I saw you talking with Pat Boyle. That's what it
Yeah.
was. You guys were celebrating about the Notre Dame victory last night up against Penn State. Our boss, David Mayernick, came running out of his office. He goes, is he here? Is he here? And then I guess Samter had some chips out there. Mayernick's becoming a chip thief. I saw him take a look at Samter's chips. He took my barbecue chips last week. But then he walked up to Hickey and he just goes, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Because Mayernick didn't want to see Penn State win either. Everyone's just, even Paulie Rosenberg from down the hall came by and said, hey, Hickey, how you doing? Everyone's just checking in on our pal, Mr. Hick at Night, Ryan Hot Take Hickey. He will join us, though, coming up 18 minutes from now, right here on the Infinity Sports Network. Oh, my God. He looks so miserable. When he put out that video after the game, because I got in his head. I said, win or lose, you got to put out a video. And it was like 90 minutes after the game. And he's sitting there. And, you know, you make fun of someone for their football team for so long that eventually you do have a heart. And it's not just making fun, it's just always being right, too. It's like, I don't seek to go after Hickey. It just happens, right? Like, it just happens where he gets his hopes up every year. You know, last year they're going to beat Ohio State, lose. This year he says they're going to beat Ohio State, lose. You know, said they're going to beat Michigan, lose. This last year talking. And this year, he said they were going to beat Notre Dame. And when he said he was dangerously confident still, you looked at me. We had a moment where I just saw a bleep-eating grin on your face where you go, lock it up. And then the wave of emotions too, still. Penn State comes out punching and punching and punching. And you're thinking to yourself, okay, maybe this is Penn State's year. Maybe they're going to get to the national championship. You know, James Franklin, this is the time, right? For you to remember, this is your time to finally win the big game. And then when push did come to shove, Drew Aller just didn't get it. He just didn't have it. And it's the ultimate wah, wah, wah. Because even if you're a Penn State fan, like Stu, you took it to the Notre Dame fan emotion. Right before halftime, you thought it was donezo. And then they get that field goal and they get the touchdown. It's like, oh, you're back. Then they get the 17 unanswered points. And then you're really thinking, right, when they go up 17-10, you know the game's not over. But you go, okay, what a position they're in. And you went from down and out to on cloud 9. And when they got the interception overturned in a tie game because of the penalty, and then Penn State scores at 24-17, you're probably thinking to yourself, it's not over, but man, good season. You know, they went further than what you probably would have thought, but you probably already started to think once again, okay, this is just not going to happen.
Yeah, I did not feel that they had another drive in them between Leonard and the running backs. I was at that point, I'm like, all right, it's going to be tough. It's going to take a miracle almost.
Now, I can't speak for Hickey, but if I imagine, right, he's that confident, and then he's tweeting out, this is men versus boys in the first half. Welcome to Big Ten football, Notre Dame. You know, he's very confident, even at halftime, with it being 10-3. When they're down 17-10, I'm sure he still probably thought they were going to win the game. But when it got to 24-17 and they get the lead back, I know Hickey. He probably thought, lock it up, sealed sign delivered, see you in Atlanta. And I bet you he didn't think they were going to actually lose until that ball went in. And I can't wait for about 15 minutes from now when he describes the emotion of that last kick. Because the last kick, and I don't know about you, we didn't talk about this part yet, and we did discuss how we thought the kick was going to hit the upright. It didn't look good at first, and probably the emotions he was experiencing when you're hoping that kick misses, because he probably was like, "Oh my God, I missed!" And then on the kickoff return, there's like 8 seconds left, 9 seconds, like not a lot of time left. Were you surprised that they didn't just try to get a return? Like at that rate, wouldn't you just try to? You have a crazy 100-something yard return. You hope that the other team is already thinking that they're winning instead of getting the touchback, then lining up and trying to just throw the ball around and hope that you have some crazy play for 80 yards.
Yeah, and the first throw was just like way off the mark, and then obviously the lateral play. Yeah, I would be more worried about a kick return in that situation than whatever on offense, whether it's a Hail Mary or pitching the ball back and forth.
And that was the one thing I think was in the head of Penn State was how good Notre Dame special teams has been. So I don't know if they just got spooked out by that, but Samter sent me this. Did you see on the last field goal where they dropped 2 defenders back thinking that there was going to be a fake? Like, I know Notre Dame fakes punts, fakes kicks, all that stuff. They've done it. But in that moment, it's a tie game. What are you fake? No one's faking there. I think the announcers even said something like, imagine this would be the ultimate time to fake it. Like, huh? And I love Greg McElroy, but him saying like, oh, maybe they shouldn't score a touch. Like, what? What are we doing here? It's amazing when you get in these big games. It's not only the coaches that kind of put themselves in a blender. Like announcers, fans, we all do it. And everyone has those moments. But I thought it was weird how they dropped the 2 guys. Like, wouldn't you just, maybe one guy will... No, God, they're not faking it there. You send everyone. And they did a nice job jumping over the line and trying to get a hand on it, but it wasn't successful.
Yeah, you try to block a kick there. You never know. You're probably not going to block it, but...
You send everybody.
You try.
Yeah. So we'll get Hickey's thoughts on this game coming up at 5:20 p.m. Eastern time. Let's get to some onside, offside. Hit it, Stu.
Zach's taking on the most polarizing issues in sports. Which side of the line of scrimmage will he end up on?
Offside. Defense number 69.
It's Onsides, Offsides with Zach Gelb.
Alrighty, Stu Puck, 60 minutes away. Are your Fighting Irish? What do you got cooking for me today on Onside, Offside?
All right, Zach. The Ravens, they host the Steelers on Wild Card Weekend, but the team announced yesterday that they'll be without one of their biggest offensive weapons in Zay Flowers. The second-year receiver surpassed 1,000 yards for the first time this season, and no other receiver had over 800 receiving yards for the team. Onsides, offsides, the Ravens need Flowers healthy if they want to make a Super Bowl run.
I'm going to say onsides. I don't think it affects them in this game, but then the next game probably being Buffalo, and if you get through that, then probably Kansas City. Yeah, you want to make a Super Bowl run. I think you need a healthy Zay Flowers, so I'm going to go onsides on that one.
All right, as the terrible fires continue to rage across Los Angeles, the Rams were forced to leave the area, and this weekend's game against the Vikings will now be played in Arizona. It's just the second time in NFL history that a playoff game was moved to a different city, the first since 1936. So onsides, offsides, playing in Arizona instead of at home in LA is a major disadvantage for the Rams.
This is a difficult question for me to answer, if I'm just going to be honest, because I feel weird either way answering it with what's going on in LA, and our hearts are out to everyone with the wildfires and what they're experiencing and just terrible images that you just keep on seeing. Because it's like, to have a football take on this, like, I just feel like it's weird. Because if I say, oh, yeah, it's a major disadvantage, well, look what's going on in LA. You got to move a football game. To me, I don't look at having to play that football game in Arizona as that big of a deal in the outcome of this game personally. But mentally, could it impact, right? Like the players that live in LA, and you have the wildfires going on right now, and you got to go leave your family to play a football game. And I'm sure a lot of the players' families that evacuate, but maybe some are staying there. Like, that's got to be mentally wearing on them. So that's where it could be a disadvantage. But playing this game in Arizona instead of home at LA is a major disadvantage for the Rams. I'm just not going to say that. So I'm going to go offside on that one.
Offside.
All right, Pete Carroll interviewed this week with the Bears, and reports say that the 73-year-old Super Bowl champ will also speak with my Raiders next week. Carroll is 170, 120, and 1 all-time in the NFL to go along with his 97 and 19 record at USC, which of course included a national championship. So onsides, offsides, if Carroll doesn't get an NFL job in this cycle, he should follow Belichick and go back to college.
Ooh, I've never even thought about that. So, does he want to deal with name, image, and likeness? That's the question. If he doesn't get a job in this cycle, I think the ship has sailed on Pete Carroll, if I'm going to be honest. So, yeah, if you can't get into the NFL once again, and I think a team should hire him. A lot of these incompetent fan bases that like root for these incompetent teams are like, I don't want Pete Carroll. You're not in a position to reject a coach like Pete Carroll. Maybe that's why your organization sucks. Because you keep on hiring these guys that you talk yourself into, that would be great. I know what Pete Carroll is as a head football coach. So if he doesn't get an NFL job this cycle, he should follow Belichick and go to college? Yeah, I'd like to see Pete Carroll go back to college if he can't get an NFL job. I got no problem with that onside.
Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn is one of the hottest names in the coaching world and will interview for 5 of the 6 current openings. However, Glenn, who is a former Jet star corner, declined the Patriots' request for an interview. We recently saw former Pats great Mike Vrabel interview with the rival Jets. So onsides, offsides, coaches should not coach a team that is a rival to the team that they played for.
No. Offside. Now, I wouldn't like to see Mike Vrabel coach the Jets. And, right, like Aaron Glenn, I don't want him to be the coach of the Patriots. It's not because he played for the Jets. It's because I want Mike Vrabel or Ben Johnson as the head football coach. But I'll say this about the hiring process. I find it just hypocritical how people slam the Patriots for not interviewing enough candidates. And then people today are shredding the Jets for interviewing Mike Locksley, who I don't think should be an NFL head coach, to be clear. But they're like, oh, the Jets are then interviewing too many candidates. And I saw Diana Rossini with the former quarterback, Chase Daniel, I think it was, said, oh, teams are interviewing too many candidates. It's like, you can't have it both ways. So you crush a team for not interviewing enough candidates, and then you crush a team for interviewing too many candidates. It's such a sham, everyone's opinion on the hiring process. But coaches should not coach a team that is a rival to the team that they play for. It's different. You're no longer a player. You're a coach. You go where you get a job. Offside.
Offside. After Penn State lost to Notre Dame last night,
sorry, but what did you say there?
Penn State, they lost to Notre Dame.
Who?
Penn State.
Oh, the Nittany Lions.
Yes.
They lost to the Leprechauns,
They
right?
did, yes.
Okay.
Star defensive end Abdul Carter, he declared for the NFL draft. Now, some mocks predict the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year could go into top 5, and Carter is considered one of the best defensive players in the draft, along with Michigan stars Mason Graham and Will Johnson, and, of course, two-way star Travis Hunter. Onsides, offsides, Abdul Carter is the best defensive player in this year's draft.
Absolutely. Onsides. And here's why. Travis Hunter, phenomenal corner. We know what he could do 2 ways with wide receiver. You look at someone like Will Johnson, phenomenal corner. Mason Graham, phenomenal interior defensive lineman. Pass rusher is more important. An elite pass rusher to me is more important than an elite interior defensive lineman, an elite corner. So I look at him. I know it's easy to say because he played at Penn State. He's Micah Parsons 2.0. Last night I'm like, this is Micah Parsons all over again. So is Abdul Carter the best defensive player in this draft? Yes, and I'll go as far to say this. My team has the 4th overall pick. I wouldn't be disappointed if my team got Travis Hunter. I want quarterbacks to go in the first 3 picks, and then I think Travis Hunter also go in the first 3 picks. Instead of an offensive lineman or a wide receiver, I would much rather take Abdul Carter, which I've been all offense for Drake May. Go sign T. Higgins in free agency. Trade for Devontae Adams if you want, but the Jets probably wouldn't do that with the Pats. But, go get a wide receiver in free agency, and I'm good getting Abdul Carter 4th overall to the Patriots. So I think he's the best defensive player in the draft onsides.
All right, last one entering the season. Some had Carson Beck as the top quarterback in college, who was destined to be the number 1 overall pick. Well, Beck struggled mightily at Georgia this year, and now after injuring his arm in the SEC title game, has officially decided to transfer to Miami. Now, the Canes just turned Washington State transfer Cam Ward from a mid-round pick into a Heisman finalist and the potential number 1 pick. So onsides, offsides, Carson Beck next year will be a Heisman candidate at Miami.
Offside. I don't think he'll be this bad because DJ Uiagalelei was horrible at Florida State. But, DJU was supposed to be, everyone was like all that at Florida State this past year, but in his previous stops, he was never all that. Like Carson Beck has never been all that, and we've been told he's supposed to be great. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be mediocre, right? The kids would say mid. But am I expecting that Carson Beck's going to be a Heisman finalist? I think it's more likely that he'll be DJ Uiagalelei on steroids, which is a compliment, I guess. Well, not really, but I'm not saying you are going to be DJU because I think he'll be better, but you get the point. I think he'll be closer to that, where he'll be like up and down and then like not really all that worth it at the end of the year. Than compared to a Heisman Trophy candidate. You couldn't be a Heisman Trophy candidate at Georgia. I know it's easier at Miami, but I don't expect that it's going to be this wonderful experience. So Carson Beck will be a Heisman candidate at Miami. I'm going offside.
Offside.
He's in the building. I brought him a gift, an actual sincere gift. Ryan Hot Take Hickey addresses his Penn State Nittany Lions losing once again in a big game. Next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
We are gathered here today, the on-air funeral of Ryan Hot Take Hickey. I compared it earlier, like if you go to a viewing, because everyone was kind of viewing you in the newsroom today. They were just walking by, paying their respects, except you were alive. Our boss, David Marinick, came out, said some things to you. Samter walked by, kind of smirked at you. Paulie Rosenberg was seeing you. I'm going to be honest. I felt really bad for you last night. Like, during the game, don't get me wrong, I am rooting against Penn State. But the wave of emotions that I know you were experiencing, my friend, and then what really did it for me, where I had a heart. And I said, you know what, I actually kind of wish Penn State would have won the game. Was when you posted the video 90 minutes after the game, because you said to me you were going to post the video either way, win or lose. And you just looked so dejected that even myself, that has a heart filled with hating Penn State, goes, man, I feel bad. Feel really sad for Ryan Hot Take Hickey. How are you?
How I've been better, Zach. I've been a lot better. Thank you for asking.
So I brought you a gift. Would you like the gift first?
Sure. Well, why the hell not?
So I got you some donuts, and it says on the box, we are going home. But I know that you maybe want to eat a donut or two.
We are going home.
Mm-hmm. Because you're not going to the national championship game. And it just so happens.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
That 4 of the donuts out of the 6 are white and green. They didn't have any blue, but it kind of looks a little Notre Dame-ish. So if you want to eat a donut, you know, I think you maybe want to take one of the donuts out of the box right now.
Why is that?
Because I have an audio montage as my next presentation.
I have a feeling you asked me to come on this morning to do picks.
Yes.
And I said, you know what? I will come on. I'm not going to hide, but I had a feeling we're not going to do a lot of NFL picks today.
Good.
So
at least you're not an idiot.
Yeah. I'm sure what I said on
we'll
Wednesday.
Definitely do picks.
Will be replayed. So,
well, let's do this. You know what? I'm going to take a donut.
Please, you take one.
You take a donut, and let's just eat this donut together as we listen to this wonderful audio montage after another Penn State loss in a big game. Stu, let me just take a bite real quickly. That's a good donut. That, you know what? Eat like a champion today. That's all I'm going to say.
I taste
Eat
nothing.
like a champion. You taste crap because you lost, all right? Here we go, Stu. Play it for me.
It's the Hickey Hex.
I don't know how Notre Dame moves the ball offensively. I really don't. I've tried to look at it. Jeremiah Love's injured. He's gimping around in practice. If he can't run, I think Penn State showed you with how they were able to contain Ashton Genty. They could stop any rushing attack. And then if Riley Leonard has to throw the ball, he ain't beating anybody. He ain't beating anybody. He ain't beating anybody. He ain't beating anybody.
2nd and 8 for Leonard. Takes the shotgun snap, looking right, gonna throw wide open. He's got Greathouse. Catches to the 30, cuts back in the 20. Jaden Greathouse is gonna walk in to tie the game. What a throw and catch! 54 yards. Leonard to Greathouse, and Notre Dame strikes back with 4:38 to go in the Orange Bowl.
I think they win by double digits.
You think they're winning by double
I
digits?
do. I feel really good. Dangerously good, actually.
How many points are you going by? You say double digits. That's
I think like 11. I say 27-16.
Quick snap for Aller, looking left. Can't get it out. Now pressure coming. Aller throws. Loose ball. Yes! Intercepted. Christian Gray picks it off at the 42-yard line. Notre Dame will get the ball back with 33 seconds left in the game. What a big-time pick from Christian Gray.
Is this the day, finally, James Franklin breaks through and wins a big game? I think it is.
Mitch Jeter lines it up. He's ready. The Orange Bowl is on Mitch Jeter's leg. Good snap, good hold, kick on its way, and the kick is good! Yes! Mitch Jeter, with 7 seconds left, gives the Irish a lead, 27-24. Notre Dame is on the precipice.
I feel really good. Dangerously good, actually. Dangerously good, actually. Dangerously good, actually. Dangerously good, actually. Dangerously good, actually.
Hot Take Hickey strikes again.
You were turning purple during that. Absolutely purple.
Worst loss of my life. Hurts.
Ever? In any sport?
I think in any sport. It rivals right now the 06 Mets loss to the Cardinals. Andy Chavez. Or really, Yadier Molina is who I should say. Those are the 2 worst losses of my life.
Wow. So, inquiring mind here. Penn State starts the game. They shot right out of a cannon. Unbelievable start. You know, just clearly showing they're the better team. You tweet out, men versus boys. You also tweet out, this is what happens when you play a team from a real conference. At halftime, because Stu even texted me, when it's 10-0, he goes, this is a disaster. They're not going to win this game. And I said, Stu, you had the ball. I go, just get points on the board. Brand new ball game. And momentum, wasn't a touchdown, but a field goal. Momentum shifted a little bit. Before Notre Dame comes out and they really punch in the face in the second half of that touchdown, going into half at 10-3, what are you thinking?
Game over. Game over. I thought Riley Leonard was out, which I wanted him to come back, so I'm glad he did come back. I was not rooting for injury, of course. And I don't want any Fugazi, they won because of the backup quarterback. I wanted the full thing.
Yeah.
There was not a doubt in my mind they were going to lose that game at that point, even up just a touchdown with Notre Dame getting the ball to start in the second half. Game over.
Okay. That's what I thought you were thinking. Now, Notre Dame comes out of halftime. They score a touchdown. They get another touchdown. They're up 17-10. You still think they're going to win?
No. I will say I'm in trouble.
Ooh!
I said, oh boy. Momentum shifted here.
Okay.
Some adjustments were made. They're not running the ball as well. Jarrell still does not look he's never looked comfortable in the entire game. At least they ran the ball to kind of mitigate that. Defense is starting to get, a little tired, getting on the, leaving on the field a little long. Riley Leonard's now starting all of a sudden look competent. I was definitely nervous 17-10 for sure.
Gets to 17-17. They're back, right? The Knicks are back.
Back. Questionable, but back. I'll take it. Yes.
No, come on. When it's 17-17, I know
No, but the pass, I'll be honest. Look, the pass interference, it felt, I'm not kidding here. It felt a little cheap. I wouldn't have thrown the flag. I'm like, I'll take it. Felt a little bailed out. That was an awful, because I was so mad about the decision to throw the ball with 3 guys around Tyler Warren that the flag helped, but it was just one of those, this guy's lost. If you're making that throw, you're lost. And that's where I was like, all right, I'll take it at 17-17. But did not feel great. Felt a lot better after the deny Des Sutton pick to set it up to make it 24-17. Then I thought game over again. Here we go. And then I'm like, you know what? Screw the pass interference call. We're 1 win away from the national title game. I'm not apologizing to anybody. So at 24-17, I did feel a little guilt of just that kind of feels a little cheap. That went out the window 5 minutes later. I said, okay, you know what? Screw it. Let's go. Let's go to the national title game. Let's get there, and let's be 60 minutes away from winning a national championship.
Wait, I thought the pass interference made it 24-17, right?
I thought it was reversed. I think it was 17-10, pass interference. I tied it up to 17-17, and then the interception from denied Dennis Sutton set up to make it 24-17. Am I mistaken there?
Maybe I'm getting this wrong, but either way, because I thought they got the pass. No, the pass interference I think was at 24-17, and they had the Great House touchdown right after that.
Okay,
yeah, but either way, when it's 24-24, where are you at then?
I mean, ball in the hand, 4 minutes to go. I felt good. This is what you live for. 4.5 minutes to go to the national championship game. Offense who's running the ball well still. I felt very good.
So at that moment, Drew Aller, right, to give the ball back.
Yep.
And I thought Notre Dame was going to march down the field and get a game-winning field goal at that point, correct?
I still felt good about the defense. After the hands to the face call that wiped out a sack and then gave them 15 yards to put it about midfield, I said, oh my God, they're going to lose the game.
But here's the thing.
My heart sunk.
Here's the part that gets lost because Notre Dame won. I thought Notre Dame did a bad job play calling there. They had the timeouts. They went away from the run in terms of with their running backs, where they were just trying to throw, and Riley Leonard just was not equipped in that spot. But either way, you get the ball back. Mm-hmm. No problem with the decision to go for it and be aggressive and try to go get into field goal range there, correct?
Not at all. No, you run the ball on first down. I think you test it out, which is smart. Notre Dame still had 3 timeouts. It's not like you take 2 knees and you go to overtime. Notre Dame had the ability to get the ball back if they wanted to. You run the ball on first down. I think you kind of see where it goes. You get the first down. And by that point, you're on about, the 30-yard line or so? You need realistically maybe 40 yards with 30-plus seconds to go and 2 timeouts. You go for it. You don't expect in that situation, if you're James Franklin and Andy Kotelnicki, their OC, you do not expect your quarterback at that point to make the worst decision of his career and do the one thing every single quarterback is told not to do. Throw the ball over the middle late. I have no problem with their aggressiveness. No problem at all.
I have no problem with it whatsoever. And here's the crazy part. You know my playbook. Whenever Penn State loses a game, a big game, which this year they were 0-3 in big games. They lost to Ohio State. They lost to Oregon. And then they lost this game to Notre Dame. I have always slammed James Franklin. Easy. Easy target for me. It's like Christmas in whatever month you want to say for Zach Gelb. I don't walk away from this game really having many gripes with James Franklin. You said it. This is on the quarterback. Your quarterback that you have been a big, and I mean a big advocate for years. And I know, right, you said he got to show up in this one and he didn't. But this quarterback, you were telling me, was going to be all that and then some. Right? When Sean Clifford was at Penn State for 7,000 years trying to be the next Perry Ellis. When he was there, you guys are like, get rid of Sean Clifford. Get rid of him. Get rid of him.
Out.
What do you have, 6 touchdown passes in that Rose Bowl, right?
He had a good day that day.
Yeah. No big deal. And you guys are like, all right, it's Drew Aller's time. And Drew Aller was a bum last year up against Ohio State. It was terrible. And his numbers are so misleading. Because everyone keeps on telling me Drew Aller going to be this top 10 pick, going to be this first-round pick, first-round guy. In any big game, he doesn't step up and deliver. The best thing you could say about him this year was the second half up against USC. And what did USC really do this year? Nothing. But take the sack.
Well against Oregon, but
okay,
that's where I think a lot of people jump back on the bandwagon. But yes, overall, yes.
He did play well up against Oregon, but you never thought they were going to actually beat Oregon in that game. For most of that game, it was a 2-touchdown game, and then they got it to 1 score. I never felt that they were going to beat Oregon. But you look back at Drew Aller right now, he's coming back next year.
Oh, yeah.
Would you rather have had Bo Perbula next year?
No, I'll still roll with Drew Aller. I think he can learn from this. I think he'll get better. I think, look, he is by far the first person to blame. With that said, the receivers did him no favors. No one got open. It was white on rice. These Notre Dame DBs, all so part of it, a little bit, again, is on the receivers. It's not all on him, but he was bad.
You know who Drew Aller looked like? He looked like Sam Darnold up against the Lions.
There were some receivers open.
Missing high.
Warren was open a few times. Singleton was open a few times, and he made some bad throws. His accuracy was bad. His decision making was bad. Yeah, I think the Sam Darnold cop is very fair.
You have not talked to Stu today.
I have not talked to Stu. No, I have not.
Stu, would you like to say hello?
Oh, hi, Ryan. How are you?
Hello, Stuart.
How you doing today?
Not good, Stu. I'm still in disbelief almost 24 hours later,
Can
Stu.
you have some class?
We need some class.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Stu. I'm not happy for you, but congratulations.
Well, you also won last night. You grew
I
up
did
as
not win.
You grew up as a Notre Dame fan. Your room was blue and gold.
I'm
Or blue and green.
still in a state of shock. 24 hours later. Yesterday was the worst day of my life. Thanks, Stu.
The worst day of your life? That's a little dramatic.
I've had a good life so far.
You haven't had a family member or someone pass away?
I have. Okay, fine. If you take that out, yes. I've had worse days.
So I sat and mulled on a text all night because I didn't want to be a jerk, if I'm just being honest. And I knew we'd have this moment on the air. But did you appreciate my late night text to you and Stu? Just wondering, do you even remember seeing this?
I remember seeing it. Did I appreciate it? I did not. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I was in a sad state of emotions.
So I started searching because we had a bet. A bet's a bet. Before the playoffs started, Hickey said, and I think this is going to be the toughest thing for you in this whole healing process. Hickey said, Penn State's going to the national championship game. I said, okay. I said, if they go to the national championship game, I'll dress up as a Nittany Lion. But if they lose before the national championship game, you have to dress up as the mascot to the team they lost to. So I went on Amazon last night, and they had a 7% discount on a leprechaun suit for $26.98. Now, I'll be a good guy. I'll buy the leprechaun suit for you. Is that good with you? You want me to buy it for you?
Sure. I was going to buy it later today, so if you want to buy it, I won't stop you.
You know what? I'm in a giving mood this year. I gave you donuts. We gave you a nice audio montage. I'll buy the leprechaun suit for you. But I have a question for you now. Do you think you're going to go to the national championship game?
I am.
You still are?
I'm going to go.
Okay.
As a member of the media. Yes, sir.
How difficult? Because I compared it as if your girlfriend broke up with you, and then you go out for dinner, and then she's sitting at the table right next to you with a new guy.
I mean, I like to think 10 days from now when the game is, I like to think that I'll be over it by that point. I could be a true professional. I better be over it at that point. So I hope so. But it's not going to be easy, especially when it's Notre Dame, Ohio State, where I feel like I still lose either way. That'll be difficult to swallow.
Who do you think, by the way, wins tonight?
I think Ohio State wins pretty easily.
Pretty easily?
Pretty easily.
Guarantee
34-17. Yeah, I guarantee it.
Let's go to Murph in South Bend. He wants to chime in here. Murph, go ahead. Did you just hear that Hickey, who predicted Penn State to win, guaranteed it, now picked against Steve Sarkisian, and he's now guaranteeing Ohio State. How you doing, Murph, in South Bend?
What's up, Zach?
What's going on? You good?
Hickey.
Yes, Murph.
I want you to focus on something, Hickey. We always try to focus on the positives, right?
We try to.
Look at your hair, bro. You have the best hair going, Hickey.
Look at the positives. At least you were in the playoffs.
I'll trade the hair, Murph, for a playoff win last night.
Wow.
Nah, look.
For a national championship.
Trust me. You'd regret it instantly in about 10 more years. You'd be like, oh, my God, where's my hair? Where's that beautiful lettuce that I had back 10 years ago? Who cares about Penn State? I need my hair.
You know what I think the positive would be here, Murph? Murph, I think the positive is at least they made the playoff this year. Participation State University.
Listen,
at least they were there.
Hold on. Zach, I also know what would cheer Hickey up. Hickey, if you ever come to Las Vegas, Zach will tell you, I will take you to an all-time, Samter will tell you, I will take you to a place that you can eat your feelings, and we'll get through this together, buddy.
Do they have PB&Js there, Murph?
Oh, stop. That's insulting.
No. How dare you?
Wait, do you have peanut butter? That will help.
It's called Piero's. It's called Piero's Italian Cuisine. And if you haven't figured it out yet, it's not Murph, but my nickname's pretty close to Murph. Pretty Irish. And I'm glad that Notre Dame won because the first tattoo I ever got at 16 was the Notre Dame Fighting Irish guy.
Oh, really?
But my real loyalty is tonight in Sark and Hookham because no matter who plays Texas, Sark is raising the trophy, fellas.
Well, we'll see about that. Murph, I got to let you run because we're up against a break. Murph, Sully, Murph, we appreciate it as always. But look at Murph calling in to try to cheer you up.
I appreciate it. It didn't work, but I appreciate the sentiment.
All right,
I appreciate the try.
I know I got to take a break here. Just real quickly, just give me your 3 picks against the spread. No explanation. I'll give you mine. I'm going Eagles laying 5.5, Commanders +3, Chargers laying 3. Eagles -5.5, Commanders +3, Chargers laying 3. And here's an advantage. The Hickey Hexa actually may win one this week. Because usually wild card weekend, my picks have been great this year. Wild card weekend, I'm usually always terrible. So you have a chance to beat me.
I like 2 of your picks, Chargers, Eagles.
Oh boy.
Totally agree with
both.
I also go rookie quarterback. Give me Denver. I'll take him +8.5. I like him outright.
You hate the Bills.
I do not. I think this is a good matchup. Okay. I think this is a very good matchup.
Any final words on Penn State?
Better luck next year. I got nothing.
You can't take the bait anymore. You can't do it.
Down bad.
You know.
This sucks.
Well, you know what?
This was supposed to be the year.
You said you weren't going to believe in this team at any point this year.
Just the matchup, the injuries, how the game play.
You know what I'll say?
I'm not going to go any longer, but
the sun will come out tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Maybe.
You know?
Maybe
you'll see the sun tomorrow.
Hope so.
The sun will come up tomorrow.
Thanks, James. Need that.
Who is that?
James Franklin said that last night.
Oh, really?
Sun will come up tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
In South Bend, the sun is shining.
The sun will come up tomorrow.
State College is gloom and doom.
He could do the same press conference every year. Seriously. I'm so proud of the guys. I'm so proud. 128 other teams. Did he ring the victory bell last night on the beat?
Thank God there's no victory bell in Miami, I think.
All right. Well, you'll be with me in Atlanta. Be a fun experience. Maybe we'll go to Magic City.
I was going to say I'd go there if Penn State won the national title game, that's for sure. Try to be like James Harden, get my name in the rafters. That won't happen anymore.
My condolences.
Thanks, Zach. Thank you for the gift.
I felt really bad.
Congratulations, still.
Terrible.
Thank you, Ryan.
We'll take a break. There's Ryan Hot Take Kicky, who once again is a college football loser. Go get him, Tiger. Here's Zach.
Infinity Sports Network. Sports Flash.
Oh, Deshaun Watson has played only 19 games since 2020, and he may not play again next season as he tore his Achilles one more time and will undergo surgery, putting next season in jeopardy. The Browns have the 2nd pick overall in the draft and will have to put more thought into selecting a quarterback. The Eagles don't have any issues at QB. They are breathing a sigh of relief as Jalen Hurts is out of concussion protocol and good to start Sunday's playoff game against the Packers. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are also healthy. Miami has found Cam Ward's successor with Carson Beck announcing his commitment to the Hurricanes. The Cotton Bowl takes place tonight, and for either Ohio State or Texas, one of these schools will go on to the championship game and play for their first title in over 10 years. The Buckeyes have rolled in their last 2 games, topping 40 points in both. Penn State's Abdul Carter is headed to the NFL draft after the Nittany Lions fell in last night's Orange Bowl. NBA tonight, the Thunder are in New York. OKC is the best in the West, but saw its 15-game winning streak end in Cleveland on Wednesday. I'm Rich Ackerman.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on X. Our handle is INF Sports Network. That's INF Sports Network on X.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Hey, this is Howie. And this is Nick from the Backstreet Boys. And you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Oh my God, we're back again. All righty, Zach Gelb Show, Infinity Sports Network. So, Stu, how did you think that go? Looking back at it, how do you think that elected that all went down?
Pretty perfectly.
Yeah. I'm surprised you guys haven't talked more throughout the day. I feel as if you're being respectful. You want to keep your distance and not rub it in too much.
Honestly, I just been in here and doing my thing, and I kind of forgot. To be honest.
When you're a winner, you don't got to worry about the losers. Welcome to the winner circle, Stu. That's all I got to say.
That's a first in football.
Oh boy. Someone asked me, this is the YouTube commenter, Meat in the 574 says, were there crow-flavored donuts? No big deal. So I said, let me get the donuts. I go just to be a nice guy and try to cheer Hickey up. And I walk in and they only have 2 donuts. It was like chocolate with green sprinkles, and then they had vanilla with green sprinkles. And I go, give me 4 vanilla with green sprinkles and then 2 chocolate with green sprinkles as well. So that was really something. I'm kind of surprised, Stu, that he's still going to the game. Like, I get it. He's never covered a national championship game before. So from a media and a business perspective, it's pretty cool. But with how he blacked out in that segment.
Yeah, that's tough.
He couldn't even remember the sequence of the Tyler Warren PR. Like, that's how emotional he turned a different shade, a different color when we played the montage. He turned off his mic. He was furious. So I'm surprised now that he's going to sit there and watch Notre Dame go up against either Ohio State or Texas. Were you surprised? I thought he was definitely bailing.
I thought he was going to bail. Yes.
You're a little disappointed on that, right? You'll be fine. I think you got to do the same routine. Pizza, wings again for national championship game.
Can't break the streak. Got to keep the consistency.
Got to keep it going. All righty, it's time to answer Ask the Pros question of the day. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. AJ Minneapolis says, Zach, out of all the quarterbacks this weekend, who are the ones in the matchups that you have confidence in? You can submit a question by tweeting at INF Sportsnet or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag Ask the Pros. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. So I guess it's each matchup, which quarterback do I have more confidence in? So that's Herbert or Stroud. It's Herbert, and I do think the Chargers win the game. Russ, Lamar, and obviously I think the Ravens win the game. Bo Nix or Josh Allen, it's Josh Allen, and obviously I think the Bills win the game. Jalen Hurts or Jordan Love, Jordan Love hasn't played great in a big game this year, and Jalen Hurts is coming off that concussion, but I do think the Eagles win, and it's Jalen Hurts. Baker and Jaden, I have more confidence in Baker, but I do think the Commanders are going to win. And then when it gets to Sam Darnold and Matthew Stafford, hey, Matthew Stafford's won a Super Bowl in this league. I think there's a lot on the line. Like, out of all these quarterbacks this weekend, I am fascinated to see how we're talking about Sam Darnold, which would be on Tuesday because the game is played on Monday night. But I have more confidence in Matthew Stafford. What a glorious show that was. That was awesome. I had so much fun today. Not that I usually ever walk out of here and go, oh, I hate my job. Oh, I had a bad day at work. But those were 3 hours. If they told me we had to do 8 hours today, I could have done 8 hours of this radio program. That's how much fun I had today. So big thanks to Stuart Kovacs for making it possible. Michael Samter as well. Rich Ackerman on your updates. Big thanks to Andrew Whitworth and Mason Crosby for stopping on by. And also a big thanks to one of my good friends, Ryan Hot Take Hickey, for just being a good sport and celebrating this holiday once a year that we always do, which is called Penn State Elimination Day. Came a little bit later this year. Surprised by that. But with the road that they had in the college football playoff, it was just, okay, this was their first big game. And our guys of Notre Dame, they won. Down goes Penn State. You got Texas. You got Ohio State tonight. I hope that's a good game. I think the spread is being only 5.5. Begging to take Ohio State. I do think the Ohio State's going to win, but it wouldn't surprise me if Texas pulls off the upset. I'll be on Sunday Morning Football to talk about it all, and we'll be back Monday right here at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific time. Penn State fans, I'm thinking of you. Love you. We out. Bye-bye. Peace.